Hey, friends. What you're about to hear is a podcast that I recorded live on stream to celebrate Planetside 2's 10th anniversary with the community. This is something that I wanted to do in order to give back to the scene. I wanted to give people the chance to call in and tell me their Planetside story. Give us a chance to learn from each other, both from their experiences in game and, if they wanted to, their experiences outside the game. Planetside 2 has been around for 10 years, and the Planetside IP has been around for almost 20. And in that amount of time, people's lives have changed. My life has changed. Has your life changed? I'd love to hear your story. Feel free to share it with me either on Discord or in a comment here on this here video. And enjoy the podcast. First up is a quick conversation with Lanzer. He's a fellow content creator in the Planetside scene, a podcaster, and he's been working on a series of videos where he shows off his thought process behind piloting a Vanguard, a tank, in Planetside 2. And we chatted a little bit about that. Enjoy.
Yo.
Hey, Lanzer. What's up, man?
How's it going?
It's going all right, dude. It's going all right. I'm planting my flag in the sand and saying, I don't care how fucking weird my life is right now. I'm going to keep talking about Planetside. Here I am.
Yeah.
How are you,
I
dude?
get you on that. I'm good, man. Life is good.
Yeah?
How have you been? You've put out some pretty interesting videos lately about finding yourself and talking about stories. It's been very human.
Well, I've been really quite feeling quite humanized in recent months. Just been dealing with a lot.
Huh.
I'm not trying to play for sympathy, but I got laid off from my job. My wife got sick. My cat got sick. Half of our house got flooded, and all pretty much at the same time. So I've just been dealing with a lot of stress.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot to take in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm grateful that I have the support that I do, and I have a lot of people who are out there thinking about me and willing to lend a hand. And
yeah, my thoughts and prayers are with you, Deeg.
Appreciate
you
that,
and your
dude.
wife.
Yeah,
and your
we're gonna
cat.
be okay. Oh, I'm sure she'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. I don't want to make too big of
Yeah.
a deal of it, if I'm totally honest. But I don't know. I just I kind of just got a feeling and decided to sit in front of the camera and see if anything came out, and it kind of did. And
It did.
I don't
yeah.
know. It's something that I might continue doing. We'll just have to see. Speaking of content, though, man, you've been pumping it out lately. Your tanker videos. You've been doing more and more podcasts. You're talking to Kamikaze on your channel in a few minutes, right?
Yeah. I'll be calling him here in about 5 minutes and setting it up and going at it. But yeah, I hit an inspiration, like a motivated sprint of tanker videos because I don't know, it was one of those don't bring a problem, bring a solution sort of thing. And I
Sure.
just know that there aren't enough tanker videos. And at first it just started out. Actually, Lex, your fault, because I know you're in the chat right now. You're the one who challenged me to when we were talking our part 1 video where he said that he had deleted his infantry play-by-play and that he didn't see any tanker ones. So I created one, and that was my first VOD for it.
Right.
And then just kind of expanded after that, and I just kept going with it.
Yeah. Tell me about them. I've caught a couple of them, but like, what's the through line? Is I've seen you do so many of them. Are you like covering different things every time? Are you like evolving your approach? Like, what does it look like?
Well, at first it was a play-by-play, and that's just a stream of consciousness playing as a tanker, all the things that I think about as I'm tanking. And then it started evolving into play styles. Like then it was playing aggressively and what I think about when I play aggressively, or playing defensively and what I think about. And then I did one about Solo Colossus. I think I did 9 VODs on Solo Colossus, where I would just grab a Colossus, be a solo player on it, and just go out and play. And then I got kind of good at it by the end of it.
What's it like playing a solo Colossus? It seems like it's a bit of a one-man band kind of thing.
Yeah. Normally you want to have a whole support team,
Uh-huh.
but it kind of goes against conventional wisdom to only do it solo. But we had plenty of resources and we weren't really using them, so I just started doing solo and trying and figure out which modules were the best. And I think I ended up figuring it out just by sheer hours of playing and driving it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
rely on anyone else but myself, how I fared pretty well. I lasted a
Mm.
long time for
Mm.
many of them. So that's what it started to expand into. And then I did a VOD about construction and kind of like a fast base. And then I did one on like the plateaus of Hossin, and I actually got to flail bases, just kind of vodding that out to explain what to look for and what I look for at least.
Cool, man.
Then the JGX came out and I went all ham on that. Tried to
That's
make
the
it. I
new.
tried to sight it in mathematically with artillery strikes and so I got kind of close, but I haven't quite got it yet.
That's the new NC tank gun, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like a mix between an AP round and a heat round. It's kind of in an unhappy medium there, but it does so
Mm.
much damage when you hit and splash. But the cool thing is it has just enough arc to where I can hit you from behind a hill and you don't even see me. So
I'm sure people love getting hit from you from the other side of hills.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the good news is I haven't quite figured out all the way yet. Some of the meter ranges are still off with the reticles, but
Sure,
working
sure.
on it. And that's kind of what the VOD has turned into. It's just tanking in general. What do you do?
Mm.
And what do you? Then there was a VOD about as an engineer, what implants are better than others or helps keep you alive longer, that
Mm-hmm.
sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Have you done any videos about like the philosophy of tanking, like why, not how to tank, but why to tank?
No, I haven't, and I
Hmm.
should. I didn't even think about that until just now.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's
there you
an
go.
easy one to do. Okay.
That's for free, man.
Yeah, thanks, Deeg.
Yeah, man.
I kind of went in on it with A-Flick when we did our podcast a couple weeks ago, and we
Right.
kind of got into the philosophy of tanking and infantry. It was a
What
really
was
good one. We're
Aflick's
going to
take
do another one.
on all of it, on the tanking stuff? What did he say?
He thinks that there should be more of a limiting factor to it.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, though, I mean, he wasn't sold on it. Like we had enough to change each other's minds, and I think he changed mine a little bit as well. But he ended up saying like, maybe a timer, maybe more resources, and then we got into the conversation of why was that the case? And I think he wasn't tracking to some of the reasons why I tank and some other people tank. He
Mm.
was thinking like the general, oh, you just want to spam and destroy Hesh and just infantry, and like most tankers aren't doing that. It's
Mm. Mm.
yeah, we really don't want to be farming infantry. And
Mm.
like yesterday and last night with the new patch, I wasn't. I was fighting more armor than I have in years. It
Mm.
was it was splendid. I didn't even
That's
want to
the
look at infantry.
that's the beautiful thing about new content in this game is because you have a whole bunch of people who come back and play who are not playing in like a super duper optimized way, the way most daily Planetside players do. And
Yeah,
so you can just like relax a little bit and not have to
yeah,
claw
exactly. There
so
were a lot
hard to
of
keep yourself being in the bottom of the food chain, you know?
yeah, there were a lot of players I haven't seen in a long time pop up yesterday.
Mhm.
It was really cool to see. And the game looks so good now. I turned off potato settings about 2 months ago, and I
Uh-huh.
vodded that as well.
Uh-huh.
And I've just been playing on ultra, and the game looks excellent. I
Mm.
forgot how good this game looks on high settings.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
kind of it's really interesting.
Yeah, it
So,
looks
anyways, that's what I've been up to.
that's cool, man.
Vodding like crazy on subjects and kind of niches that I haven't really seen too much about, and that's mainly construction and lightning JGX and then vanguarding
Mhm.
and then Colossus.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, very
Well,
good.
thanks, Steve. I'm good to talk to you, man.
Hey, it's
Really
good to
good
hear
to
from you
talk to
too,
you.
man. Enjoy your conversation with Kami.
Thanks, Deeg.
Adios.
See you later, man.
So, if this podcast were a hamburger, the series of conversations you're about to hear are undeniably its meat. I had the privilege of catching up with a handful of the leaders who coordinated, on behalf of their outfits and communities, the anniversary flyby event for Planetside 2's 10th anniversary, celebrating being in the skies of ORAX for 10 years. This event was embedded within the Extra Life charity drive, and we discussed that, of course. But predominantly, this series of conversations focuses on the value that Zerg fits, as they're often called, and the value that they provide to the Planetside 2 community for giving a place for new players to call home, for allowing the players to have a sense of agency in contributing to the new player experience that anyone trying out Planetside gets to have, and how important that is. Enjoy. Exactly. Well, speaking of falling, I just watched a few bastions fall from the sky. I would love to hear from whoever wants to start a little bit more about what we just saw, like this event. What was this? Why were those bastions flying around and not shooting each other? What's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, it started out as one of the milestones, right, Dig? SKL is running charity this year for Extra Life, and we started out with a 3,000 milestone. That was supposed to be like our end goal, right? Try to get 3,000 for charity.
Okay.
And we kind of went past that in the first day of charity. So the milestone for our initial final milestone was a server-wide event, right? So
Hmm.
basically SKL would reach out, try to organize something, pretty massive with other outfits, cross faction, something similar to the Bastion smashes that we've had in the past. We've
Hmm.
had like armor smashes and that sort of stuff. And I thought that with the 10 years of our game right around the corner, something more of a party of sorts would be, pretty fitting, right?
Yeah.
Just have a bit of a wholesome moment, invite the community to just, have a friendly moment of peace with each other,
Yeah.
and
An
just
anniversary
look at
armistice.
exactly, yeah, look at the people we shoot in the face every day and just, have a nice crouch communication session. So yeah, I reach around and the community has some fantastic outfits that also run charity. Judokah here from VCO, I'm pretty sure they run charity almost every year, if not every year.
Huh.
1TR also does a lot of charity, and 2ref is like our brother outfit that has been running Extra Life since day one. They are
Hmm.
actually the ones that got SKL into Extra Life. They reached out to us and said, "Hey, don't you guys want to do this on the first year of Extra Life?" They were already doing, and then Extra Life got into it because of them. So I reached out to these guys first and asked, "Hey, do you guys want to help organize and head the faction so we can have this nice, cross faction party, ceasefire sort of stuff?" And they all jumped in. So we reached out to the friendly outfits that we have, the good folks that we know, people we play with every day, have been playing with for many years, and everybody jumped in, and it went, much, much better than I could have expected. It's always amazing to see how much this community can, you know, withstand in the form of organization. It's really really nice because it's in the individual level, right? We just pass it on, and then each of the players is their own, and people maintain a pretty nice behavior all around, I'd say. So yeah, you love to see it. You love to see it. Everybody just buying into the idea of the event.
It's a beautiful Planetside thing that y'all have pulled off. I really
It
enjoyed watching
definitely
it.
is.
So you
Yeah.
said that you had set a goal of 3,000 for charity. What's how where are y'all at today?
I have not been following up. I think we may have gotten a few streams because actually we are currently running the 12-hour stream as well.
Oh,
One of the
where's that
Yeah, one of
happening?
the other milestones. It's on Twitch. Kazstar has been running it for I think 9 hours or 10 hours at this point. We're in the tail
Oh,
end, I believe, and
beautiful.
we've gotten a few more in there, and I think we're pretty close to 7,000 at this point, if I'm not wrong. So
Wow. Wow.
we're
Seven
almost at our final
thousand.
file milestone. Yeah,
That is so cool. That is so cool to see the community come together for charity. It's a children's charity, right? That's what Extra Life is.
Yes. So Extra Life is kind of an arm of the Children's Miracle Network, which is
Uh-huh.
an organization that donates to just hospitals to help children. And
Hmm.
SKL, you can pick whatever hospital you want to assist. SKL has picked the Nationals Children's Hospital that's in Washington, D.C., and the money goes directly into your institution of choice. And
Hmm.
we've picked that one because it's a hospital with a pretty like international program. They help children from all over the world,
Hmm.
and SKL and Planetside in general have people from all over the world. So that's kind of what we wanted to go for there. Yeah, it's a really nice organization. Every year they run it. Every year they get a lot of money. They get gamers involved, and it's really cool to see like people engaging with something outside of a game, from a gaming community, right? You can
Right.
mobilize a gaming community and do real good in the real world. So it has been like absolutely amazing to see the people jumping into it and supporting.
So I did
Yeah.
want to poke in the amount showing up on SKL stream right now is $6,949 out of
Oh.
$7,000.
Oh boy, 50 away.
Close.
There we go. Yep.
That's awesome. Does that exceed your expectations?
Absolutely. Like absolutely. Like I said, we started out with 3,000 and I said we are probably not going to get this year. It's going to go much slower.
Hmm.
But then you have like some insanely generous people in the community. Like I've been shouting them out every chance I get because there are three hard carries in the SKL community.
Uh,
The top donor Tater Nader with I think 1,600 just by
wow.
himself. Rusty
Wow.
Dawns, that's one of the other reps from another outfit that helped to set the event up as well with 1,550, I think, and Lord Cipriani with another 1,000. So just on those three guys there, you have huge, huge donation, and plus a bunch of other like hundreds, 150, 50, uh, not just in large sums, but also in amount as well. There's a bunch of small donations as well, and
Hmm.
each one to their own, right? Not everybody can donate a lot of money, but the intention across the board is just being overwhelming. It's just really, really nice to see.
Yeah, there's something about Planetside that's kind of special. The way that Planetside players can come together, can mobilize, can come around something like this. Of course, it's amazing that you've had
Absolutely.
your few hard carries, but even those hard carries, the math it's not even it's not more than half of the donations have come from other folks just making smaller donations. There's something special about Planetside that it can do something that normally would take like a like a major streamer community can do something like this, where you have people like with thousands of stream viewers can put together this kind of a charity drive. But this is like from the ground up, like from the soil of Araxis, and I think that's really special, man.
It really is. It's definitely something else. It goes to show, right? And I feel like an event like this, the one that we just had right now, is also, something special. It just goes to show like how involved the community is, right? And we just passed 7K.
Amazing.
Nice. Yeah, that took
Congratulations.
about a few seconds there.
I'm not going to say it's my fault because somebody donated right after
Bro,
me, but
but it is probably you, Zip. Really appreciate it, man. There you go.
Amazing. Okay. Okay. Well, that's amazing. Sort of the theme of this call-in live podcast that I'm doing is people's Planetside stories. So, is there any more to say about this charity event that like any cool stories that came out of it? Anything that people ought to know about?
Uh, well, I guess an interesting piece of lore there for the Emerald server is that The first time we ran an Extra Life charity was 3 years ago, right? This is the third year in a row. And SKL and 2ref, like, were the main ones participating in there. We did a lot of stuff together. SKL and 2ref became pretty close, like brother outfits of sorts, because of the amount of stuff we did for that charity. And Captain Dan, one of the ex-officers in 2ref, reached out to some guys after that charity in order to create a place where we could all coordinate, right? He reached out to Judokah, that's here as well, from the NC, probably the head of that faction, to help out with the Discord as well. And we now have the Emerald Community Discord, where the reps talk to each other. We have a place to plan these events, stuff like the previous Bastion Smashes. They all kind of came out of the first interactions from a charity event. We had like some special stuff from the first one off, like a miniaturized version from what we had today, just between SKL and 2ref, and it all kind of expanded from that. So it's nice because in some ways the collaboration that we have nowadays sort of came from that initial charity that we ran, and we did it a few more times. So that's something, that maybe not everybody knows about, but it's definitely, a cool piece of lore there.
That is cool. That is cool. Well, who else would like to jump in and tell us a Planetside story from this group?
Guessing we can go one by one here, right?
Hey, if
Yeah,
no one wants to jump in, I will.
Go for it.
There we go.
Introduce yourself.
So, well, a lot of people know me already, as far as I know. I'm Mikezat, also Pikachu 888 on NSO. I started playing Planetside basically when it came out, and wow, I would say my Planetside 2, my time in Planetside 2 changed probably about 3 years ago when I was at Howling Pass and I was on NC, and I had a armor column just completely like wreck the fight that was near Howling Pass. Like it was such a cool sight, and they all had the same tag on, and that would have been one WSC, and I was like, I got to figure out who these guys are, and I figured out the tell system and sent someone to tell, and ended up being a guy named Fort, who is a great guy. And the journey from that moment to present day, where we're at now, man, ridiculous. That moment is what propelled me into Discords and streamers and all kinds of, things relating to Planetside, a game which I've always just come back to. If I was playing something else, I just gravitated back to Planetside 2. There's nothing not like it.
What brings you back?
Scale. And prior to that, it used to be graphics. It was always like, oh, can it run Crisis? Me, it was like, can it run Planetside? That was before they dumbed everything down. So.
Right.
Man, that journey, I went from that journey as an NC player to somehow getting into like a leader role, what would have been a leader role at the time for that outfit, and then having things go south, and then having lots of things happen, and then making a journey over in between and meeting people like Sarloh, meeting people like Orbi, talking to them while I'm doing stuff, and then actually ending up in SKL for quite some time and putting a lot of time and love there. And then now I'm here with my own outfit who got to have a really good time tonight. So as far as a Planetside story, I could tell you countless different battles that we've just dumped on, things that we've done on just public regular platoons. It's crazy. The amount of stories people can sit here and tell you is ridiculous. But my journey really truly started probably about 3 years ago
Mhm.
And prior to that, I was probably that quiet solo player that just hopped on every once in a while and was just like in that 96 plus fight.
And all it took was a
Why?
tank
Because it was an
column
unpopular thing.
to
Yep.
get you out of the solo play lifestyle into all this.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's beautiful, man. So tell me about your the outfit you're in now, 895.
Yeah. So 895. Where do I really start? So we are the 895th Black Sun Raiders. We're an armor outfit on VS Emerald. We also have recently opened a NC fit, the 598th Black Titan Vanguard on NC. We currently don't have a TR fit yet. The outfit itself is inspired by the communities of SKL, past and present communities of SKL, 1WSC, Mag3, and 784. How we got the 895 tag, it's actually a play on the 784 Terran Hellhounds. They're an admired TR outfit. So they play on TR. They're really good. They're really fun to play against because they're just tricky. They got pretty good cohesion if you ever see them.
Cool.
So the name of the outfit was actually inspired by SKL. It's their old logo, and the logo
Oh.
name is called Black Sun. I just needed to tag on something else, so Raider just kind of rolled off the tongue, and that's what we rolled with.
Black Sun Raiders. Let's go. And
So
what do the Black Sun Raiders bring to Planetside?
we are a hub for vehicle players and casual gameplay for the most part. Like, as much as I like to say, hey, don't leave your vehicle and be in vehicles 24/7. We've been, we'll roll with VSTV, or even I'll run a casual platoon and we'll be in and out of armor. But a lot of us do enjoy armor play. I kind of offer an open armory and like a self-governing culture. So I don't have a ton of rules and red tape. The armory is pretty open. Any member that joins the Discord can access the armory and pull a Colossus if they so choose. And so far, we're 130 members strong, which makes us the largest armor outfit on Emerald. And, we don't have any problems with the armory. We got people that pull it, people that use discounts, anvils. I mean, it's not locked like how it is in so many other outfits. There's valid reasons to do it, but I'm in the opposite direction of that philosophy.
Got it.
And
Got it.
I feel like what makes us unique is, unlike maybe Panzer, unlike maybe Mag 3, unlike 784, the difference is I kind of also follow SKL's philosophy of public facing. Anyone can join. So
Why
so
is
long
that
as you
important to you?
follow the rules. Why is public facing important?
Yeah.
You have access to more people. More people makes the game more fun. You don't discriminate based on skill, because we're all at all different skill levels. That doesn't mean I'm going to sit there and train up new players that join us, but I have no issue pointing them to other communities or linking them to resources that'll help them. And usually just trial by fire is how I learned. So I will kind of keep that philosophy instilled. But
So you have
anyway,
relationships with other outfits who are. Do you often have players who join you as new players and then eventually decide they're looking for like a more specific, or I don't know, like more hardcore way of approaching the game? Do you have that happen?
I have people that ask. I don't want to say I have a ton. I have a couple of people that are multi-outfit. I have a couple of VSTD guys. I have a couple SKL guys. And that's fine. I don't have any issue with that, because every outfit offers a different play style.
Right.
So I'm not going to definitely frown upon something that I don't offer or choose to not offer.
Right. Yeah, I'm fascinated by that because I personally have always been attracted to like what you might call skill fits in my personal play, lead fits, whatever. But I've in recent months I've come to really admire what the public facing outfits like y'all, like SKL and so many others are doing in actually being the new player experience of Planetside 2 and how important that is. So I just find that you know, Planetside is a game where the guardrails, where they do exist, are for the most part created by the people who play it. And I think that is so cool and interesting and fascinating, and in many ways parallels the game of life that we all must play when we log out. I think that's really cool. And I like to see communities answering the call of helping and being there for folks who have no qualifications, who haven't earned it yet. All they've done is show up.
Right. So really, the 895. I've founded 895 during a rough time with SKL. So originally we were going to stay as kind of a subfit for one of its armor academies. And really the outfit was going to be a love letter for the armor community. It still is, in my opinion. And it's blossomed into something I could never fathom.
What was that
the
rough
intended
time?
The rough time?
Yeah.
So let's just say the larger the community, the more problems, the more policies, the more red tape. I will just say this: there are great people in these communities that are sometimes snuffed out by bad people. And that's the way it is. And just sometimes things don't work out. But
that sounds really sad, man.
The benefit of that, though, if there's any sort of light side to it, is you get great communities like VSTD, and then I hate to say it, but 895 is also grown exponentially because of that, even though it is not what I wanted.
Okay.
So, what else? Yeah, I'm in shock. Like, not every day, but there's just times I sit back and I'm like, wow, I have X amount of people here. We have X amount of players per day, and I look at other communities been around a while, and it's like we're already larger, and it's crazy because I don't have any formal requirements for like activity or a schedule. It's pretty laid back. It's just pretty much let's log on, let's do something, and then, you know, if no one's on, no one's on. And then I just try and keep relations open with other outfits, and we run with other people. Sometimes other outfits join us when we're running, and we just do all kinds of crazy stuff, sometimes even stuff that's against meta and frowned upon. But people find it entertaining and fun, and that's based on who's
Sandbox,
running it,
man.
what's going on. Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
Cool. Well, Mikezat, really cool to meet you. Thank you for introducing you and your crew to us. Really good to get to know you and hear your story.
Yes, sir.
Who else would like to jump in?
I'll go ahead if you don't mind, Deeg.
Go ahead, Judokah.
I think this is the first time I've actually talked to you, so hello there.
I think that's right. Nice to meet you.
Now, I've seen your podcast and watched a few of them in the past, but I usually don't get involved doing these kind of things too much as far as talking with folks, because got a lot of stuff going on within the outfit to keep it going.
Yeah.
But again, thank you for having me in. And I still want to say an extra shout out to SKL for organizing this thing. Those guys do a great amount of work. I know they used to always take a lot of heat by people, but I think they're a great outfit and do a good job. But you were starting to ask about Planetside stories and how we got here and things like that.
Yeah.
I originally was a Tribes player. I played all the various iterations of Tribes. And as Tribes was dying off, I was looking for a new game, trying to find something to take its place. And there was a young fellow at work that sat in the cube next to me that I was mentoring. And he said, I started playing this new game. It sounds like it has everything that you like. And because even within Tribes, I wasn't that thrilled with the capture the flag stuff, but I was more thrilled with the territory capture part of the game.
Okay.
And he said, it's got all the stuff you like. He says, but when you get on, make sure you get on the purple guys. They have the best weapons and stuff. So I got on, and I was originally a Vanu, and I would run around with him, and I would top gun on mag riders and harassers and things. And that was a lot of fun. But after doing that for about a year or so, I got tired of being shot in the ear by railjacks. Someone setting 2 hexes away, popping me in the ear with a railjack. And I said, I've got to try that gun out. So I switched over and created an NC character. And I played with that a little while. And one day I happened to be at the warp gate. And in proxy chat, there was this guy who was saying, hey, I need a gunner for my lib. And I thought, I've never really gunned a lib, but I've gunned harassers and top guns on tanks. I'll give it a try.
How hard can it be?
So I jumped into his lib. And he taught me how to gun from his lib. And when we were finished for the session, I said, how am I going to find you in game again? And he tossed me out an invite to his outfit. And that was Captain in Arms. I don't know whether you ever heard of Captain in Arms. That he was the fellow that used to do Radio Free Araxis and do the Warp Gate News.
Of course.
Yeah. He was the lead of VCO at the time. So that was how I got into VCO. So I was in VCO for a lot of time. And as the population in Planetside started dropping and dropping and dropping back in those very lean years when the dev team dropped down to almost nothing and things like that.
Yeah.
We started to, as VCO, we started to thin out to where we were pulling less than a squad per an ops night. And I said, I like this group of guys too much. I don't want to let this happen. So I'm the grandfather figure of VCO. I'm the old fart. There are only 2 guys in the outfit that I know of that are older than me. I'm the retired old fart. So that was about the time I retired. So I had a new career. I started running open public squads 7 nights a week for anywhere between 4 and 6 hours. And as part of that, all of a sudden that started building up the membership of VCO because people were looking for squad leads to lead them and platoon leads to lead them. And I found I really, really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. So as VCO started to get built back up, we became one of the bigger outfits on Emerald NC at that point. And we were really big right around the time that, the outfit wars originally started, the alphas and the betas, the first 2 go rounds. And at that point, Walmart Greeter had been the VCO lead, and he moved on to other games, and I became the VCO outfit lead, and I've been that for a couple of years now. And we have a great group of guys. We're part of an overall gaming community, Voodoo Shipping Company. And we have divisions in a lot of different games. We have a Warframe division. We have a Destiny 2 group. We have a Star Trek Online group.
Cool.
And a couple others. We have a bunch of guys that play 0K and a few other things. But as part of that overall community, it's not, Planetside is our largest division, but we've got people, they'll come into us through Planetside and then move off into other games, but you still get to be around the same people. You have an overall community. And it's a lot of fun because like Orbi had mentioned earlier, we do fundraisers each year. We normally don't pile on to the one that the community does overall, but over the past few years, we've done quite a few of them. I mean, we've done a fundraiser for juvenile diabetes one year. We've done one for suicide prevention. This year, we're doing we're in the middle of it for Save the Children Fund for their Ukraine emergency fund for refugees from that conflict.
Yeah.
And quite a few different years, because it's a shooter game, we've donated to Wounded Warrior Project. So every year we have some kind of fundraiser. Some years we have 2. So we try to give back as a community to people that we can help out.
That's beautiful, man. Why is it important to participate in those kinds of charity events, in your opinion?
Well, again, we're a community,
Yeah.
and when you look at the world around you, it's your community. And if you're not helping out, what are you doing?
Uh-huh.
I mean, there are so many people that need so many things, and we're fortunate enough we can come in and play a game, we can have fun, we can enjoy ourselves. We need to be able to give back. So we try to do that.
I think that's legit. I think that's dead on, man. You mentioned that your entrance into Planetside was from a coworker who you were mentoring, and then when you retired, you went from playing to being a sort of Planetside mentor. I'm curious, any parallels between that experience in your work and that experience in your, well, your retirement work?
Well, I have to think that they're kind of similar in the way I do things. At one point, as I was working, I was the software development manager of a company, and you try to teach the people under you how to do what it is you want them to do, the way you want them to do it, and to enjoy themselves. One of the things I always said was, I don't go to work, I go to play. Well, that's the same even after I retire. Because if you're going someplace and you really consider it work, then it's might be time for you to look for alternatives, because
Sure.
you should really enjoy what you do. Otherwise, it just becomes a horrendous slog the rest of your life. And you get angry over things. You look at your life and go, oh man, why do I have to do this?
Right.
You have to find something that you enjoy. If you find something you enjoy, it's fun. It's like playing. And you'll look at that and go, hey, this is great. I can keep doing this nigh on to forever. And that's kind of where I am with Planetside as well, because I really enjoy it.
What is it about Planetside that renewably captures your interest year over year?
Yeah, unlike like you were talking about, you were drawn towards the more skill fits. Well, I'm the exact opposite of that. I'm more drawn to the real-time strategy part of the game. I'm a map painter.
Okay.
That you'll hear people ridicule the map painters. Well, I'm a map painter. I like to be able to win alerts. I like my guys to be able to win alerts. They get extra XP for winning alerts.
Hell yeah.
They get extra XP for tagging bases and winning, fights. So you try to do that. And I really enjoy that, especially the ones that are close. If you just have a rollover on a continent, no big deal. You rolled over a continent.
Sure.
But when you get into those ones where it comes down to the last little bit, to where you need that cutoff, or you need that last base, or it goes into the new overtime, and then it's like, oh my God, we got to kill more of them than they kill more of us.
I love those.
That really gets your buzz going, because for trying to lead, that's the ultimate, where you want to feel that what you're doing actually makes a difference. And being able to look at the map, anticipate what's going on. You do it long enough, the other outfits, what they're going to do, or you at least think you know what they're going to do. So you have to anticipate that, stop it ahead of time, and you'll run into the same groups a lot of different times. And if they whip you this time, then you try to do the same thing to them next time. So you just try to keep it going.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You're the first person I've spoken with who's admitted to being a map painter. I know y'all are out there. I know there are a lot of people out there who would like to play the game that way. It is part of Planetside. It's an important part of Planetside, and it always has been. So, and I totally agree with you that those final moments of the alert, when you're in a group that is making a difference one way or the other, those moments, Planetside really sparkles, right? It really pops. And those are the moments where, like, after the alert ends, you need to step away from your computer for 5 minutes and breathe some fresh air because it was so intense, right? That's cool.
It's the final 5 minutes, right? Every alert that has been decided in the final 5 minutes, it doesn't matter if you win, you can still lose the alert. It was a worthwhile experience,
Yeah, usually
decision came down,
Yeah, usually when one of those happens, and if it happens to be the last one I'm leading during the night, I've got to go do something else for an hour because I know I'm never going to go to sleep. That it's a matter of
Yep.
you got to calm down. The heart rate has to slow down. You just have to kind of relax a little bit because otherwise it's going to you're going to lay there and, like, honest to God, and, I probably shouldn't admit this, but I dream Planetside battles at night. I'm planning strategy in my dreams. Now, that probably tells you I play too much, which my wife says I do. But
I'm guilty of this.
Because last time I looked on my main character and its alts, I've had somewhere between 12 and 13,000 hours in this game. So yeah, I've been around for a while, playing a lot.
Okay. Your painting easel is well worn.
But yeah, cool. And within VCO as an outfit, like I said, we're pretty much an open outfit that we bring in a lot of new players. We try to teach them the game because somebody has to do it. If somebody doesn't do it, these players just come in, they get farmed off, they leave. But if they get into one of our squads or get into our outfit, we teach them how to be useful, how to earn XP, how to do things that you don't just walk out, die, respawn, walk out, die. That you get to be running in a squad. You get to, even though you don't necessarily have the skill to pop people's heads and get them down, you start off being a medic or an engineer. You support them. You still get your XP, and you're very, very useful. Is exactly right. You don't have to be that frontline guy. And you'll hear people criticize someone, especially you go on Reddit. The first thing they try to do is discredit you on your KDR, your KPM.
Of course.
Well, I really don't care about that crap. I have zero care about KDRs. I always try to be, when I'm running a platoon or a squad, I always try to be the first guy through the door. That I know I'm going to die. I'm going to die horrifically every single time. But my goal is to try to take out one or two guys as I'm going through the door, or draw the fire from all the guys who are shooting at that first guy through the door. That lets my guys come in behind me. It lets me shout out where the enemy is, where to look for them when you come through the door, and it makes your squad successful. But yeah, that's hard on a KDR, but I don't care.
Yeah, you're there for other reasons.
That's exactly right.
When KDR gets criticized, I think of the saying, what's measured is what's managed. KDR is such a very simple number and easy to understand number. And because of that, it's a powerful metric, but it doesn't describe everything, especially in a game like Planetside. That's for damn sure. Well, Judokah, what else, man? Anything else we should know?
Yeah, there's one thing I always say whenever I'm running an open squad or an open platoon. When we're done for the night, I always ask one question that I always demand a serious and honest answer from the guys. And that question is, did you have fun tonight? Because that's what it's about. If you're having fun, you stay with the game. If you're not having fun, you don't.
There it is. Well, I'm having fun. Thank you, Judokah. It was really nice getting to know you, man. Who else would like to jump in?
I think I might as well.
Is it? Yeah.
So, this is going to be interesting because originally it wasn't supposed to be me coordinating with the rest of these guys. It was supposed to be our actual outfit lead. But he got called away for horse races. So
called away for like unexpected horse races?
His well, no, he expected them. His significant other is into that sporting, so he went to support her. Which results in the interesting dynamic of probably one of the youngest guys in the room representing the oldest outfit in the room. So yeah, about me, I joined my oldest still active character was 2016. So I haven't, compared to some of these old farts, I haven't been playing for much at all.
Just a whippersnapper.
Yeah, I think I got into the game because I found one of Rel's earliest videos on Planetside 2 just randomly recommended to me on YouTube.
Huh.
Um,
God bless the algorithm, I guess.
yeah, algorithm. I mean, I kind of cursed the algorithm for a bit because the laptop I was playing on was a ancient ATI powered piece of garbage.
Ooh. Yeah.
I think potato settings back in 2016, I was averaging maybe 20 FPS.
Oh no.
But I stuck with it and I ended up here, so it couldn't have been
Cool.
all that bad.
Cool. Cool.
But since people have thrown around stuff about their outfits, yeah, so GOTR or Ghosts of the Revolution have been playing Planetside since Planetside 1 released. We're at least old enough to vote as an outfit.
Uh-huh.
And it's that community that keeps me coming back. I know some people are less concerned about what community they're playing and they just like playing Planetside. To be completely honest, if I didn't have a community to play with, I would not still be playing.
Okay.
And that's kind of what keeps me coming back into the game.
Yeah.
And
tell us about that. What's so powerful about the community that draws you back when the game would not?
It's that I can, come home from a difficult day of work or whatever. I can sit down and I know I've got a bunch of guys that I can chat with, and whether or not I'm, helping to run armor alongside SKL or 895 and charging straight down the guns of 784, or I'm getting, 4 VCO galaxies dropped on my head, I know I've got fun guys on the other side of the gun who I can have a laugh with.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps me coming back. It's just the dynamic between the community. I've played games from EVE Online to, the latest Battlefield, and short of EVE Online's political scheming, which is a little bit much for me, Planetside is the closest knit community I've been able to find.
What quality of Planetside do you think brings that out in communities?
I honestly think it's the persistent world aspect of the game, because like I said, Battlefield, I've played that, but those worlds aren't persistent. You don't end up with the same 2 communities going at each other time and time again until they've learned the other's tactics enough that they can read each other from across the map. And that's kind of what gets me working and keeps me active in the game, is if I'm running armor or helping to run armor up against 784, or if I'm ending up on the other end of a random VCO armor group, it's being able to try and play around what I expect them to do and then having them still surprise me.
That's a really cool component of the outfit identities in this game, and the continuity, like you said, where we get to know these communities almost like at the level of people, and we create stories between ourselves and between communities and even within communities, and the persistence is what lets that happen. You pointed out Battlefield. If you're just playing on a server with some random people and you see a guy named I did your mom, it's like, okay, cool, never gonna see that person again.
I might come to pick up a rivalry with one guy, but it's very rare that I've found that you can run into situations where you're finding an entire coordinated group and you look at the list of their names and you see, half or 3/4 that you recognize as a group that either, stomped on you last week or that you stomped on, or it's been a really fun fight the entire time. That's a hard thing to get in gaming.
God, you're so right. You're so right. And just reflecting on it, it kind of makes me think of having a TV show that you really love, and every single week you're excited to see what the characters are doing, what they're up to. And you come to love those characters and the connection with them and the stories that go on. I'm just thinking out loud. I love that. Tell us some more, Zip, about your experience in Planetside, your Planetside story.
Yeah, so like I said, I started playing on that utter garbage piece of laptop.
Mhm.
But I mean, there are definitely times when I think back and it's, had I been a sane person, I would have stopped playing the game because
Mm.
it didn't run well.
Mhm.
I think I ended up getting pulled into GOTR off of just a random public platoon, and I was there chatting with our outfit lead, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna shoot you an invite. I know you're a bit of a newer player than we usually invite, but you're active and you have a mic, which is, better than some of our current players. So
Uh-huh.
sure, come in, have some fun with us." And that's kind of just kept a consistent circle. It's been up and down. We've had, content droughts in Planetside and blitzes of development like we've had in the last few years.
Mhm.
And it's always just been the, hey, Thursday night, I know we've got combined arms, we've got armor, air, and infantry trying to work together, and this is, it's consistently a fun thing to play
Mhm.
with.
It's what we do.
So yeah, that's what's kept me spinning the same wheel for the last nearly 6 years.
Yeah. You said that you were maybe a little insane to be playing Planetside under such hostile conditions on that laptop.
Oh yeah, I would definitely argue there's a little bit of insanity because this wasn't too long after the original Operation Make Faster game, which made a slower game. And I was running it on an already outdated laptop that had graphics from a company that could barely splice together 2 transistors. So
Mm. So back then, before you had the experiences you had now of having these communities and Thursday night where you know where you're going and you know who you're going to be doing it with, before you had that hindsight to reflect on, what was it that made you suffer the insanity? What made it worth it back then?
I honestly am not sure because part of me wants to say it's because the game was free and it was a shooter. And at that time I was, in high school. I
Okay.
barely afford gas to drive my car to school.
Uh-huh.
But I also know there were other free to play games that I had on my radar at the time.
Mhm.
And I could have been playing Warframe the entire time. I could have been playing any number of things.
Right.
And I'm not 100% sure what kept bringing me back to Planetside. It
War
likely was the scale.
Warframe a bit easier on the frame rate.
Just a little bit. It
Yeah.
runs a bit better at the low end.
Yeah. One of the things that you mentioned is that you were singled out as having someone who had a mic. What was there something about? I guess the thing that suggests to me is there's something about the social component of the game that maybe jumped out at you that maybe wasn't available in other games.
There definitely is. Despite considering myself fairly introverted, out in the world,
Mm-hmm.
I've never been able to keep with an activity if I don't have some other parallel track with, other people.
Uh-huh.
So it's entirely more likely that, I joined my first character that I know I created was a TR character, and I was running with it may have been AODR at the time or AOD because they didn't pick up the R until later.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I fairly quickly moved on from them because I kept getting killed by the purple spandex. I much liked Judokah in that one, but I moved from TR to spandex because I was on the other side of the Orion. Yeah, so that was when I moved over to VS, and then I joined DAP, and that's another mostly dead outfit. And it was that outfit that I was in when I found GOTR, and from there it's kind of history.
Mm-hmm. And what does GOTR mean to the Planetside community?
I mean, besides being an absolutely ancient in terms of outfits name, we're not that big. I mean, we've got 200 active members, 500 total enrolled.
Mm.
But we are consistently online with some people and just consistently active. And for some groups, it's annoyance because it's rare you find an infantry fight where we're running in a group that we don't have a PPA sitting over the base shelling people. But that's kind of our goal, is to just play all 3 domains and integrate them together. That's what we did in Planetside 1, from what I understand. And outfit leadership has continued to try to push the combined arms aspect as far as we can.
Are there still a lot of hands around in those Planetside 1 days?
Oh yeah. We've got a lot of, like, our current outfit lead, Robo CPF, he is a Planetside 1 player. We've got a bunch of older Planetside 1 players who've moved out of the front end, like, active group and into more support. And we've got a bunch of old hands that pop in every once in a while, you know, when the kids are, you know, off to summer camp, or when work isn't hampering them, or when they just get the energy up in their retirement to come log on and play with us, you know, young sprouts.
When the right occasion strikes, sure.
Yeah. I mean, we've had names that some of the community might recognize from, you know, the beta of Planetside 1 that occasionally pop in just to say hi. And it's always a cool thing to see a name and you see half the Discord light up with, oh wow, it's been, you know, 7-8 years since we last saw you. How are you doing?
That is cool. You like when that happens. You know, the thing about a franchise like an IP like Planetside, it's been around for so long. It's kind of like, I think like World of Warcraft players have a similar thing where it's been around for so long that everyone's life has changed since they started playing this game. And it's really cool to get to hear from people at the different points in their lives, at different stages in their life. I've definitely gone through stages of life since my first experience in the Planetside 1 beta, when I was a fresh college dropout. So I think that's really special, man.
Yeah, and I think it's also important for me to say we're not just a Planetside outfit. Planetside is what I've interacted most with GOTR, because that's where I joined, but we've done things from Warframe, we've done Destiny, we've got a recurring Game of the Month thing going, so we're all over the place. And that's how we end up with stuff like one of our active outfit leaders having been offline in Planetside for over 3 years, but she's still active in the community.
What's the Game of the Month?
Currently we are playing... Currently we're playing Astroneers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's like a space, like... well, what is that game? I don't even know.
I haven't played it personally, but from what I can see from other people, it's Minecraft in space.
Oh, that's catchy. I can vibe with that.
Would be how I'd class it, but I'm sure it's more involved than that.
Cool. Well, Zip, thank you for taking the time to share your story, man, and tell us about GOTR. Anything else?
No, I don't think I've got too much. Just thank you to Orbi for pinging us and letting us get involved, and thanks to everybody else for showing up and being good sports about it.
GG, Zip.
Absolutely, bro. How could you have a 10-year party without GOTR, man?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you need somebody to, be nearly old enough to pass off the fake ID and bring the drinks.
Yeah, there you go. We've all been there. You someday you'll become a boomer like us.
Yeah, absolutely. So who else wants to jump in? I don't think we've heard from Arrow or Sarloh.
I'm guessing it's either me or AOD.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my story is shorter.
Well, by all means, then.
Well, then, if we're saying life stories, there we go. I started playing Planetside one day after it came out, so unfortunately, I am not one of these enlightened beta players who saw the world before it became public. In any case, when I started playing Planetside, I hated high school. just
Mm.
didn't fit in. And then all of a sudden, I discover a cool outfit that's full of really nice people that took me under their wing. And since I'm European, it was every weekend at 2 a.m. But all of a sudden, you have this escape from this environment that's very okay. Imagine like a stereotypical high school jock from like an American teenage movie, just full of whole high school with them. It was a welcome escape.
Sure.
As time went on, the group was called 382 or 382nd. Of course, as most Zerg fits, it kind of died off with time. Although one would be surprised just how many famous personas that we know even today started out in that group. For example, earlier Orbi mentioned Captain Dan. I've actually met him in that very outfit.
Cool.
So the outfit died off. I took a bit of a break and came back during the escalation update. It was wonderful. I was looking for a moment to get back inside. And something quite peculiar happened. I joined an outfit called 1TMI because they required some help. I saw a lot of people came back to Planetside, they needed new officers. It was the perfect opportunity. What happened was that for some reason, all of the people I used to play with kind of gravitated back to the game, 2B in 1TMI. And all of a sudden, you have this reunion of the people who carried you for years. And on top of that, being a platoon leader, 1TMI was a very closed outfit, so I was kind of their emissary to the overall Emerald TR community. And I saw familiar faces, such as Cox, for example, who I remembered very fondly in Leaders Chat back in the day. And it was quite special because back in the day, that was almost 8 years ago when I started platoon leading, or 9 actually. I was about 15, so you can imagine how that went. And seeing people who were serious and mature enough to take you seriously, accept you back, and with open arms, it was quite a special experience. Now, time's passed, things happen, and I have the privilege of helping to lead an outfit called ORAX with a bunch of other magnificent people. So here's a funny thing about ORAX. After 2.5 years, people stopped playing Planetside because that's what happens.
Yep.
It's normal. But for some reason, they always come back to us. Most of them, I'm pretty sure 95% of our players, if they return, they come back to us. Because one of my goals with ORAX is that I want to provide the very same experience that 382nd provided me, that escape, that safe harbor for people. And seeing people who we, mind you, actively encourage on a daily basis to try out different factions and see different outfits, come back to us and interact with us, it kind of lets you know that, you know what, maybe we're doing something right. And it makes you happy on the inside. So I'm guessing that would be our story.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. How do you go about creating that safe space?
Well, it's not really about creating a negativity-free space. It's more about focusing on the people, because just like Zip said, like the reason my part is so short is because Zip covered so many excellent points. What keeps people coming back to Planetside, controversial take, it's not the gameplay. If you want combined arms gameplay, you can play Battlefield and have a better, more balanced time. It's the people. And the moment we created the outfit, the focus was on the people, interact with the people, make them talk, make them interact with one another, help build connections and friendships. And that's kind of how we build the outfit. Because at the end of the day, the outfit can have as many logos and documents and guides and YouTube videos as it can. But if you don't have the people backing it, you really have nothing except for a dead YouTube channel. And of course, then there are the anime openings. That's a classic, a must-have.
Community content's my favorite.
Promoting Waifu Wars Episode 3 coming soon.
Oh my god!
You had to bring that up, didn't you?
Yeah,
bro, hype.
Everybody loves the anime. It's all about the anime.
I think if you don't love it, then you react strongly to it. So it gets strong reactions out of people anyway.
Exactly. Some watch it because they enjoy it, other watch it because of the outrage. But
Exactly.
Yeah,
still,
but
it shows you something. It shows you that different logos and memes and jokes the community makes helps to connect the people in the community.
Mhm.
So in a way, all of these soft rivalries that outfits built between one another are highly important for Planetside to work.
Mhm.
So when people talk about outfit drama and tension and hatred and so on, spoiler alert, all the outfit leaders are sitting in the Emerald Community Discord on the same page because
Mhm.
we know that this is what makes Planetside tick.
Mm. Amen, brother. Amen.
A wonderful little tale. Well, I was done short and sweet. Goodness, how much time do we have? Do I promote any more projects? Daddy, if you need some NFTs by any chance, I'll draw in my
Okay,
hand.
so let's move on to whoever's next.
Fair
No,
enough. Fair
Sarloh,
enough.
seriously, thank you for sharing that, and especially thank you for sharing that the Planetside came from you from a place of feeling alienated from your high school community. I think a lot of people who come to video games are in a similar situation where the community that they're supposed to be thriving in and they're supposed to be living in is just something about it that is not a match. Something about it is not working. And we are all so lucky to have to be connected internationally via these video games, and we can find that despite getting a potentially bad roll of the dice sometimes. And I think that's such a cool thing that a community like the broader Planetside community can provide, and yours in
It
particular.
truly is. It truly is.
Yeah.
Arrow, I'm just gonna give you the mic right now. Just get me out of this awkwardness.
All right,
I'm getting
Sarloh.
shot at by a
GG.
liberator right now.
GG. So yeah, thanks for sharing. Let's see. I think the only person who we haven't heard from this little cabal is Arrow, who's been very, very patient. Arrow, are you still with us?
I'm right here.
Hey, tell us your story, man.
What do you want to hear? I could tell a personal or maybe not so impersonal story about the last Outfit Wars. I could just talk about my outfit like everyone else has been.
What do you think would be most fun to talk about?
I'll talk about the last Outfit Wars, I guess,
All right.
since it's most fresh in my mind and this
Is
is
it the
most
Nexus
mainstream
or a
thing.
prior one?
This is Nexus. I could tell you about every single one though. I've been in every single one,
Okay. Let's hear it.
and I guess I'll compare it. So yeah, last Outfit Wars. Outfit Wars, of course, is really a big endurance test that has become.
Maybe introduce yourself and your outfit real quick as you roll into it.
Okay, well, I'm Arrow 5379,
Mm.
to be differentiated from 5378 and 5380. Don't know why I said that. AOD has been, well, it's a much larger clan than just Planetside. It's unique in that it is a true multi-gaming community. We have full divisions in 12 different games right now, and that means that if it's full division, it has active leaders and an officer corps and members who consistently play that game, and that's just in that specific game. And then you have that across the other divisions, and then there's of course the overall clan leadership. So, for example, even though I'm one of the leads for AOD, there are a dozen people above me who are leads of AOD for the entire clan. And the clan's been going since 1999. We started playing Planetside in 2003. We had a division in that. Took a hiatus between Planetside 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And, we jumped on Planetside 2 once the closed beta was available, and we've been playing it every day since before launch. And that's been quite the journey. I wasn't there for the entire time, but I know
Sure.
quite a bit about it.
It's a long history, brother.
Definitely, and we're fortunate that there's actually quite a few members who are still around then. So I've spent some time gathering information and putting it all together to figure out, what the hell happened. At least as far as Planetside goes.
A little
there's
Planetside
even more.
archaeology. There's a lot of stuff from Planetside 1 time that are just totally lost.
Yeah,
It's a shame, man.
It's actually slightly unfortunate. Our very first commanding officer, his name was Blunts. He passed away unexpectedly, I think last year. So
Oh,
that's
no.
one link to the very beginning that's lost.
GG Blunts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, AOD, however, has pretty much occupied the same niche, done the same thing since the very beginning in Planetside. A very public, front-facing outfit, definitely larger than others, and the criticism we get because of that along the way. But we do our best in providing the experience of an outfit. People think that we're just you know, a bunch of Zerg herders and we really don't do anything, but people who say that don't really understand AOD, I can guarantee you. And there's a shocking amount of people who've been in AOD at some point. I know that, I mean, as full members, because what I'm getting at here is, you know, there's might be like 50 people online right now in AOD, and I'm leading a platoon right now. However, in terms of full members, there's a difference between, you know, being in the outfit in game and actually being in AOD as a member of the clan, getting access to our private forums, our private TeamSpeak, and all
Sure.
that.
Sure.
The
So
vast majority.
there's levels to it.
Yeah, and of course we handle things differently in different games. For Planetside, a long time ago, at the very beginning, we decided that this was going to be a public outfit, and you know, you didn't have to be a member of AOD in the clan in order to be a member of AOD in game. And as far as that goes,
why was that decision made? Like, what's that get y'all?
I mean, we're a very public-facing, front-facing outfit. We want to provide, you know, if you look on our recruitment page, say all skill levels welcome. We run platoons daily. Absolutely anyone is welcome into it. It truly are public platoons. I can probably look at my platoon right now and I see a vast variety of tags. People with no outfit, people in other outfits, people in AODR. And those platoons are really what keeps us going. If we have a reputation to maintain as well that's been built up for the last 23 years. You know, we have a COC that makes sure that everyone practices good sportsmanship, and that people know the name AOD and respect it. The people that, you know, aren't going around to be toxic or hacking or cheating or exploiting. And that's done very important work in other games, and I like to think it's done important work in Planetside as well. So hopefully people, I don't think there's a single person that plays Planetside at this point that doesn't know the name AOD, or at least has played on the world. Or
I agree with you. Y'all are ever present, and like it's impressive the presence that the AOD tag has had in Planetside for all these years.
Yeah, it's a long and interesting saga of how it's kept going.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I wonder if I could ask about. You said that, you know, that there's been a choice to make, you know, the AOD, the Planetside clan, kind of just open to anyone, open to all, but that there's, you know, private forums, there's levels. So I wonder if you could help me, like, characterize, like, what's the difference between the public AOD that everyone can join and sort of the next level, whatever that looks like. What's the difference? I'd love to.
Yeah, so, you know, I stand by.
No worries.
All right. So you join AOD in game through the outfit browser, and you can instant join, but you know, anyone pretty much gets listed unless you got a name like you can imagine, I'm sure.
A colorful name, I can easily imagine. Yes.
But and then from that you have permissions to, you know, have outfit chat, and that's about it. Yeah, we encourage you to run with our platoons, and you know, these days, if you're an outfit, you get access to merit and stuff like that. And we don't really ever remove anyone for inactivity. If you're there, you're there. If you go around and start team killing, then you're probably going to get kicked. Sure. But we absolutely 100% encourage people to actually join the outfit as a community experience, not just be there with a tag in front of your name. Go through the steps to actually get inducted as a full member. Join us in TeamSpeak, because everything's always better in TeamSpeak.
Sure.
You get access to everything on the forums, get access to a insanely large community, and that's what really drew me in and has kept me playing Planetside for far longer than I thought I would have when I first started playing.
Can you estimate the size of the community, the total size of the AOD community?
I don't have to estimate. I know exactly how big the community is. So the in-game outfit is a little bit over 13,000. The amount of and that outfit has not had significant cleaning out since it was formed originally. So there's of course plenty of inactives in there.
Yep.
There's very few stat tracking websites can actually load the outfit. The amount of them that are actually concurrently active, as in like the last 30 days, is probably several hundred. The amount of those that are actually full members who, you know, have access to the TeamSpeak and the forums, who are actually AOD members, is a couple hundred. I think it's 206 right now at this very moment.
Okay.
And then the larger AOD clan, you know, 12 other divisions. I'm looking at it right now. I could tell you the exact membership of everyone, but it's a little over 1,500 full members in all the other games combined.
Wow. So Planetside is just like one of the rooms in the hallway that is AOD.
It's one of the oldest divisions in AOD and one of the larger ones, but it's not the largest. War Thunder and Battlefield are actually a couple hundred more larger.
Okay.
But yeah, it's up there.
And to go from being just someone who wears the tag in Planetside to someone who's part of the bigger, more committed community, is it just a matter of raising your hand and going through some authentication? Or I had a crazy conversation with Pale Tiger like a little while ago, where he kind of painted this picture. I'm so curious. He kind of painted this picture that y'all were like taking people's credit card numbers and shit.
I was about to ask that. No, it's nothing like that. You raise your hand, and then we ask for your bank account information and your social security number. Yeah. No, there's really very few requirements. There's no. Well, I'll just go through it now. So we ask you to sign up on our forums because everything is based on the forums. That's really how you keep a community of this size together and all the information. You can't use something like
forums like that. Very old school these days, by the way.
Yeah, it's clanaod.net. It's hosted on vBulletin. We have a whole team of officers who are dedicated to maintaining the forums, and they do ungodly amounts of work.
Imagine you have some web devs. Yeah.
Yeah, they speak with, one of them is like an actual like server engineer in real life, I think.
Yeah, that helps.
He speaks in terminology that I have no idea what any of it means, and I like his funny words, Magic Man. But yeah, so you get a forum profile. You can submit an application to really any division. Of course, Planetside is the best division. Or you just get in contact with an officer in-game, on Discord, on the forums either. And then we just guide you through some steps, and that ultimately culminates in an induction where we give you our TeamSpeak information because it is a private server. We get you in the server. You talk with an officer. They give you the rundown of all the requirements. We give you our COC, which is 12 points. It's all very basic, you know. Support your fellow members, protect a positive image, don't discuss any politics. That's what Rule 12 is, perhaps one of our most unique things. We don't allow any discussion regarding politics, race, or religion, no matter what. And it really just makes things last long and much more better. Because ultimately, people come to play games to get away from all that stuff. And we need to create an environment where people want to spend time together rather than pulling each other apart.
What about Planetside politics? Is that allowed?
Yeah, I guess. But we do. I mean, AOD keeps out of drama pretty well.
Okay.
At least I'd like to think we do. The whole thing with War Pigs. I mean, we were pretty silent for the most of that. We weren't making accusations at Pale Tiger, and ultimately, I hope to feel that is behind us, and we're all the better off for it.
Okay.
And that strategy seems to work.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, I didn't really believe y'all were taking credit card numbers. I'm relieved to hear that's not the case, though.
No.
Sure.
If you want to give me your credit card number, I actually probably shouldn't take it. I imagine there's some sort of felony.
Yeah. It might not be good juju. So, I've asked you a bunch of questions about AOD now, Arrow. You were going to tell me a story about Outfit Wars, weren't you?
Yeah. So, when Outfit Wars was first announced, we knew it was going to be coming. We didn't really know exactly what it was going to be like all those months ago. And we, the leadership of the division, got together and we asked ourselves, are we going to participate this year? We had participated in every season since, but it was always a struggle because, I mean, the first 2 seasons, easy enough, 1 match, 1 and done, have a lot of fun.
Right.
But then season 3, with its multiple matches, became more of a endurance test, and the same thing for a lot of outfits. And Outfit Wars has really turned into something where a lot of outfits go to die. You know, War Pigs didn't make it out of Outfit Wars, and in the previous seasons there had been some outfits that also had collapsed.
Puts a lot of stress on outfits. Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is. And we decided we were going to participate this year because even though, you know, when there's outfits like Gobs and VCats and other outfits that are stacking teams seriously high in terms of skill, you know, we're not necessarily going to be able to.
You don't plan to beat those teams.
Yeah, we play to win, but I'm not laboring under any illusions here.
Of course.
But one of the most vivid experiences I actually have from when I first started playing Planetside again was from my very first Outfit Wars, and when I was just a regular member in AOD. And it was one of the most fun experiences I had ever had in my entire gaming career. Getting together with so many fellow members for a single event, which was really very climactic because it was, you know, the gold match, and there was only 1 match, and then the season was over. And, you know, things were there was a aura of very serious play. You know, you were going to do the absolute best you could because of the people right next to you in game.
Yeah.
And you knew who you
do
were
right
going
by your
against.
brothers and sisters.
Yeah, and you were going against B-Way, and I think the other, well, I think it was GSLD was the other outfit. You know, it was very serious players, so you were going to give it your all.
I think I played in
and
that
I had
match.
a ton of fun.
Do you know that?
Yeah.
I played for GSLD. Small world. Anyway,
yeah. We didn't come first, but we didn't come last. But I had an absolute blast, and the same with the second season. So I imagined that this year, for this season, if I could do the same thing for all the members under me, it would absolutely be worth it, and I'd be willing to do it for even if there was just 1 guy who wanted to do Outfit Wars. It didn't matter.
It's kind of special, isn't it?
For it. It really is. It's a really special experience. So we went forward with it. It was definitely a stretch. We did a really big effort in training everyone. You know, we ran 14, 16 trainings, and it just kept getting better and better. I was really impressed. Every month we have a full member ops alongside our just regular ops, just at the end of the month. And it's where we do something where we step out of our comfort zone a little bit, where we just form up in, you know, dedicated full member squads, make them as coordinated as possible, and, you know, we have fun that way. So
more high effort.
We use that opportunity to test out our doctrine that we had come up with, that we would go into the matches with, to see how it would work. And this is really when we started running air for the first time in years. You know, we have now a dedicated like air group. And then we had our people in the other squads. And I remember this, we were at Crossroads Watchtower, and it was a 96+ fight, and we kept getting wiped on those points, and I was force commanding. I'm sitting on top of that hill, and we just keep getting wiped over and over, but I keep telling them, drop again, drop again, drop again. And they did it every single time, and I was severely impressed. Even though we got wiped off those points, the coordination and the response times, you know, it was like 20 seconds between asking them. After they got wiped, they would drop in again, and they would hold that point for a solid, you know, minute or so before they would get wiped again. And that gave me the confidence to go into those matches. We got steamrolled in a couple, we won a couple, but, you know, it was an amazing experience. I was impressed with what we were able to prove to ourselves that we were capable of doing. You know, in the 2RAF match, while we lost on the bases in terms of infantry, our air got severely engaged, and we were able to stay airborne against a very formidable opponent.
2RAF in the air, no joke.
Yeah, and our air players were really proud of that, and justly so. Yeah, so ultimately, yeah, it was a really fun season, and that's really what's important. Anyone who had fun in the Outfit Wars are the real winners.
Are you sick of Outfit Wars? I hope not, because we're about to talk about it. For those who don't know, Planetside 2 and an MMO FPS just had a competition, a tournament called Outfit Wars, where a whole bunch of outfits fielded a platoon strength force, which is 48 players, where they face off against each other on the Nexus subcontinent, head to head, and whoever wins continues in the bracket, whoever loses goes home, roughly speaking. This event had some interesting forces on the Planetside scene, and I've heard a lot of perspectives over the last few months as I had the privilege of casting 30 plus Outfit Wars matches myself and talking to the leaders of these communities afterwards. This conversation is perhaps a little distinct because it's really focused on the needs and issues that are faced by communities that are very large and focused on the new player experience. So I hope you'll enjoy this, and if you're sick of some of these talking points about ringers and outfit identity, I understand. I hope you'll stick around to the end of this conversation where Red 7 jumps in and shares a freshening perspective on Outfit Wars that I haven't had the privilege of hearing a lot of. So with that, enjoy.
I don't know if Judokah said this or it was another person in VCO, but he had very wise words. Don't call it Outfit Wars because it isn't. You're not deciding who the best outfit is.
What should we call it?
If Ringer Wars.
Ringer Wars, yeah.
if you want to call it Infantry League or something like that, I know that's already called that on PSP, but that's essentially what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, with all the drama, I just call it Love Island.
I had some awesome conversations with some of the team captains, especially in the final weeks of the Outfit Wars, the VCats. But my favorite was when I was interviewing Sale from Recursion and Dolphin from VCats after their match, and Sale called out VCats being filthy ringers. That was an amazing conversation.
I can imagine.
Yeah. The shared identity that we engage with in Planetside is always up for grabs. People are always moving around, finding different places where they want to be. People are always wanting to find people who approach the game the way they want to approach it. And Outfit Wars is an obvious time to reevaluate that. Still, though, it is an interesting problem. And I think for me, one of the things that I came away with, and I don't know how to solve this problem necessarily, but the person who I remember most strongly saying this was what's the leader of KN1? I can't remember his name.
Odeon.
Yes, Odeon. He said that when you don't have the people who are wearing the tags day in and day out in live Planetside representing that outfit in the Outfit War, you lose the chance to engage with the story of those outfits. And you're fighting something that is sort of like not exactly what you know. Like you see that tag and you know what to expect. I can't remember who was saying this earlier about. It might have been Zip saying this earlier about how you get used to seeing the tags and anticipating them and knowing what they're going to do, and you lose something when the compositions of these teams is so fluid. So I'm really sympathetic with that. With that complaint.
Well,
Yeah,
to be honest, please go ahead.
I say I have no problem with people that want to do that type of thing. The competitive scene, that's great. There are people that love to play that way.
Yeah.
But but my whole point always has been be honest about the name of it. It's not really an outfit war. And there are people who take a difference, in my opinion, of what an outfit is or isn't. I consider an outfit something where people go play together on live every week. They stay together. They do things together. To me, that's an outfit. And if you're not playing together day in, day out, week in, week out on the live server with the same guys, you're not really an outfit. You're something built for an event. And that's what it really is at this point. And that's why VCO hasn't taken part in the last two. When you had to qualify originally on live, you were playing with your guys and you had one match. It wasn't going to become this long, drawn out thing to where you were going to have, the smaller outfits, they never really have a chance because you have to have a platoon. So they have to bring people in. I know a lot of people are thinking when they've made the comment in their development path that they're going to be doing something with alliances and things like that. I'm okay with that. If you're going to have a formal alliance of small existing live outfits to make a group big enough to fight in outfit wars, that's not a problem. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But I'm not a fan of people bringing in ringers to stack something for this. Don't call it outfit wars, call it something else, because it's not really outfit wars in my opinion.
I second that by Judokah. And I will say AOD's never rung for another outfit or brought in our own ringers for any of our outfit wars. We did all our stuff ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion that Outfit Wars split the Planetside community between the competitive scene and the live scene. The server pop just absolutely tanked whenever Outfit Wars came out. But you have two different sets of players. You have the everyday player that just wants to click heads, and then you have the competitive players.
Isn't Planetside better when there's content for both of those kinds of players? Oh.
Yeah.
I think I'm from the opinion that the problem with the outfit wars is in the scale that they try to implement it. I think that outfit wars in like essence should be like a more competitive form of the alert meta. Like playing the map is what we do, right? The outfits are around because we enjoy going around the map. This is our playground, right? This is what we do, is go around the map trying to win alerts. And what they want to capture is the sort of experience that the infantry main guys enjoy, but you are not going to get a good experience in this time in the life cycle of the game with a 48-man format. I think the mistake there was that they should have went with a single squad and have a competitive format with a single squad. It's not as interesting because it doesn't have the scale of Planetside, but it would solve all these problems, right? And then maybe give us something in the alert meta, right? Like an alert on the weekend on prime time that is worth a bit more, so we all have a time to everybody get online and play and show, our skills on live. And then you have the best of both worlds, right? The infantry guys who like competitive scene and are playing like harder than all of us can have their space in the competitive scene, and they are not going to need to, split up their own groups. Because I bet a lot of these people, they would love to have gotten in, with their own tags and bring their own prideful groups into the game, but just were not able because of the scale there.
Yeah, I think
that's one of the things.
Totally remove Planetside for a squad size competition. Go ahead, Judokah.
That's one of the things I've called for since the beginning of the outfit wars. As I said, there should be sizing, of categorize. So you have a 1 to 12 man outfit war squad for the small outfits, those elite fits, those guys who are those supreme infantry guys that really that's what they do with their tiny one squad groups. Then you have the mid fits, they could run a 24 man outfit war. And then you have the large outfits, the VCOs, the SKLs, the ODRs. They could do the full platoon outfit wars. I really always have thought it should be like fights like. And if you do that, then you can actually have an outfit war.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. I understand what the craving is for that level of fairness. You still run into problems where there are outfits like Gobs, as an example, who, I mean, they came together. They came from Connery to Emerald. Maybe there's something about them that I don't know, but as far as I know, they're not a Frankenstein elite outfit. They didn't bring in a bunch of ringers. Like, those are their guys, and they just ran over.
No, yeah. Like the Emerald Outfit Wars was like the people who deserved it won. Like there's no discussion about that. Like Gobs, Recursion, and VKTZ are absolute top outfits right now, and they brought in their players, right? That you can have 1 or 2 people here and there, maybe a bit more, maybe a handful of people that joined in, but in the end of the day, their core, like the vast majority of people there, are just people who play with them. right?
Mhm.
You may recruit one guy or someone asks to be in your team and is a top player around, and they join one of the teams out there, but they absolutely deserve to be where they are. I just it doesn't feel like a pleasant experience for everybody, is what I feel like. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be, right? The competitive scene in anywhere doesn't have to be like a pleasant experience for everybody. But at this point in the life cycle of the game, where you have such a small player base in general, I think that having something that caters to just a small portion of the player base is not a really smart decision there. You can give them something, but you need to kind of, sate the thirst of the majority of the player base as well. Like you need to give to, you know, the most people that you can. And a smaller format would both just give the good players what they want, and the big outfits could just, stick to live and do something in there, because that's honestly what we kind of enjoy doing. I loved Outfit Wars. I think it was just amazing, a great experience all around. But I don't know. I'm not sure if that's how I would have done it.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
then allow me to chip in, gentlemen, if I may. Listening to all of your comments, which were spot on, by the way, all of you. There is only one reason why we are having this conversation right now. Only one. And that is because Outfit Wars happens about once a year, and
Hmm.
last Outfit Wars took quite a while before it happened. If the event were to happen more often on a predetermined and well-known schedule, it would lose some of the glamour. However, you would have less surprises. And if you could run different types of Outfit Wars, be it the Desolation or the Nexus ones, you could easily cater to different types of communities. So the only reason people have so many hot takes and so many positive or negative experiences is simply because this is a very irregular event.
Hmm.
What Planetside requires, truly, is a think of it like a yearly calendar, a schedule of competitive events that are hosted either officially or unofficially by the Jaeger
Seasons.
community.
Hmm.
Exactly. In a way, to publicly promote to the general audience, Lane Smash is a thing. PIL, or the name has changed, my apologies, I forgot it, is a thing. And to give each of those things equal exposure. So now
Hmm.
you have content that is catered to different types of people and is quite regular. Additionally, if I can take a step back and touch on one of the topics regarding ringers, I know this is a bit of a dead horse right now, but it's something that's been on my mind, and I would like to use this opportunity to say it out. Um, I remember there was some drama regarding ringers and VCATs, and I would like to tell the community why I think the whole drama happened. Is because VCATs did one fatal mistake, just one. During their interviews, they often said that they cannot believe how people mistook VCAT's the outfit for VCAT's the competitive team, but they made no effort to make the distinction. If they had taken their own players and their newly found friends and created a different outfit and called it VCAT's competitive, then they would have absolutely no difficulties with the community. For example, ORAX worked with 2RAF, we were partnered up, and we made sure the community knew about it. Pretty much everyone in the Emerald community was well aware that we had been working together for more than a month, even before Outward Wars took place, and so there were no issues on that front. As for WeCats, we simply knew that they had friends, and the transparency that people were looking for wasn't there. So if this were to become a more regular event, then such things would become more commonplace. Outfits would form around outfit wars,
Hmm.
and you would have outfits that are catering to live play and outfits that are catering to outfit wars and both, and the community would be in my opinion, a healthier place, but the numbers might disagree with me. So now I can rest my peace for the next 15 minutes. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thanks for sharing that, Sarlo. Yeah, I want to, if I can, try to reach a conclusion here on this Outfit Wars sidebar, which is so fascinating. Um, uh, but it's a topic that can be discussed for hours. Whatever
Deeg, can I jump in?
whatever the means is, I think the thing that perhaps we're all sensing, and if I'm reading the room right, is that we all think that outfit tags should mean something, and when you see it, it should mean something. And it's interesting the way outfits get used for outfit wars, and going back to Judokah's first comment about don't call it outfit wars, because outfits mean something, and they should. It's the backbone of what this game is. What's happened today is the example of that. This charity event that was created by y'all that wouldn't have happened without your communities coming together to cooperate and do this. So that deserves to be honored and respected. And my thought, and I don't know where this goes about outfit wars and ringers, is maybe what people need isn't ringer protection or, different size competitions, but a reason to stay within the same outfit between outfit wars, a reason to stay on the same tag between outfit wars. I don't know what that looks like exactly. Maybe it's what you suggested, Sarloh. Maybe it's a season of events. I do think that there's difficulty with promoting and engaging the general player base with anything that goes on Jaeger, sadly, because quite frankly, the player tags don't make sense. That's a huge loss.
I can explain that.
Yeah.
Because when Jaeger first came around, Planetside Battles was given about 1,000 accounts by the devs for use on Jaeger, and they didn't have enough people to create all the characters on those accounts. So in order to do it, they contacted Synthesis, who is the EXO of the division at the time, and leading the Reaper team. And the AOD Reapers went through all the character accounts and created the characters, and that's why you see like giant stretches of like black characters or female characters, because they got bored and they had to like break up the monotony somehow.
Absolutely, yeah.
But they just gotta be numbered like that.
I'm grateful Jaeger exists at all, that the devs bother supporting it at all. It's a huge asset for us to have it.
And Planetside Battles does an amazing job.
Shout out to those guys
over there.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, there are some insane people in the community doing volunteer work, right? Like even all of us, like people maintaining outfits, doing like the tools that we use every day, like Maelstrom for Planetside alerts.
Right.
The people who keep the Planetside wiki up, there's these API wizards and people just maintaining all of these hardware that we use. So yeah, there's definitely quite a few legends out there.
Totally.
Can I jump in on the outfit wars thing?
Yeah, say your piece and also introduce yourself, Red 7. I don't think we've
Sure.
heard from you yet.
Hey, everybody. I'm going to use a dirty word to describe myself. I don't mean to offend any of you. I'm actually a casual Planetside player.
Oh,
Competitive
Oh
yes.
player.
God.
Record
My
scratch.
AOD is
Oh,
a
God.
bit of casuals.
See, now, I actually organized some watch parties for our outfit for the last 2 outfit wars.
Oh, cool.
So we could all get online on Discord and watch this game that we love played at a really high level. I just wanted to say, everybody who participated, thank you. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed watching and participating kind of that way. We had our teams that we cheered for. SKL, I have an alt in SKL, so we had some fun cheering for them.
There we
over on
go.
Emerald there. It was a good time.
GG's, bro.
Yeah. So for me and some of our guys, I just wanted to say thanks for that. It's a different perspective, I think, on our side, and it's probably not one that comes up on shows like this very often. So I thought I would jump in and say it's an incredible experience to watch you guys do what you do at that level. Blows us away. We are in awe at your skill and your abilities. I can't believe that can happen, honestly. It's great. So just thanks, guys. It's awesome.
It's a really cool perspective, man. Thanks
should
for
also,
saying that.
Thank Planetside Battles, because I don't know what they did, but getting all the community content creators together to cast an ungodly amount of matches for those many weeks, and nearly every match got cast all the way from the playoffs to the very finals. And
Yeah.
Deeg cast a few matches himself. He actually cast one of AOD's matches, and I thought the
Yeah.
coverage was very
Yeah.
nice. So thank you.
Yeah, I casted about 36 matches by the end of it.
Goodness.
Wow.
Something like that.
Good lord.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it wasn't just Emerald; it
community-
was all the servers.
Well, I was doing
Community
Emerald
cover
and
was
Connor,
beyond the roof.
but I
Yep.
enjoyed it a lot. I was very happy to put it in my rear view the week after, though. Like, I think a lot of teams were by the time Outfit Wars was over. But it was
Yep.
an incredible
There
moment
was
for the
definitely a lot of
community.
that.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, I'm just so grateful to you, to your communities, for doing things like this, for showing up on my stream and talking to me about your stories and about the people that you show up for in game with every single day. I'm not going anywhere with this. I just want to say thank you and great game to every one of you.
Really appreciate it, Deeg. It's really nice. Like we all know, like our game doesn't get a lot of attention, and having like you guys, the content creators out there that are still, putting in the work and giving us the content that we are looking for, because this is all for us in the end of the day as well, right? We're kind of participating with you guys here on something that we all consume in one level or another. Archie, Deeg, Sirius, everybody that's out there producing for Planetside 2. We know that it's not like the largest community that you could have, and we may not be the most positive community also, but we like to think that we're a bit of a special community, and we're very thankful for everybody that's out there doing the hard job of creating content for our game as well. So it's really nice to have the opportunity and getting in touch and planning a few things and just getting to talk about what we do in our beloved game.
Amen, brother. GG to all the other creators out there. And thank you on my part.
GG's.
I love doing this.
I can tell. I can tell you're really engaged with your content, Deeg, and I appreciate it because it's a kind of deep conversation that goes just beyond surface level about Planetside, and I enjoy that. I think it's important to talk, not just about what's on the outside, and go a bit deeper into each and every one of the kind of relevant topics that we have, right? Because it honestly, like, all of us are way deeper into Planetside than we all should at this point. And it's only fair that we take that into our conversations as well, I think.
Yeah. Well, we're all people first. So
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
love to come back to the human angle. And it's I think that when it comes to hobbies like these, that there's just a convenient cultural shorthand that a lot of people are comfortable with of, we're here to waste our time. We're here to kill time. We're here to distract ourselves. We're here to escape something. And sure, you can use an experience like this to do all those things. But I also think that there's an access to something available via Planetside events like these and communities like yours that sits far above all those very base human methods of coping, and that there are things you can get out of these experiences that rise above coping into something useful for our human souls. And I like to try to find that and speak to that. So that's what makes me excited to meet every single one of you. Sarloh, Arrow, Mikezat, Orbi, Judokah, and Red 7, who I think we're going to talk more in a moment. The pleasure has been all mine.
It's been a pleasure, absolutely. Your insight is spot on. And with that, I think I will take my leave. Have a productive debate, everyone. I look forward to watching the recordings of what you say behind my back.
We'll make it spicy.
Don't worry, I'll find you behind my bag rider.
Oh boy.
Just you try.
Thanks, everyone, and congrats
send
on
it
the
after me.
fundraising goals that we hit, that this community hit. Great game to everyone who contributed to that.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Dig, is this a wrap up? Are
Yeah,
we
I think we're good, dude. This was
all
really
right?
fun. I might have
Sounds
some
good.
other folks from the stream jump in, and we'll do something. We'll talk too. But thank you so much for doing this, for making the time to come commune with me. It's been awesome.
Yep, really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you for having us in, Deeg. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, bit of a mismatch of topics there,
It's the way I
but
like it.
hopefully some valuable stuff too. Really appreciate it, Dig.
I think so. GG, guys.
See you on the next one.
Thanks for having us.
Next up is Scorch. Scorch is a Planetside nomad of sorts, and we had a nice conversation about his path through the Planetside scene and how he's really taken up the challenge of enjoying the Planetside social sandbox for what it is. And this conversation also talks about his 10 years in Planetside 2 and how he's come not just as a player, but as a person, and gone from being someone who was maybe seen as a little bit of a problem to being someone who can be seen as something more of an example for other players. So thanks, Scorch, and enjoy. Hi, Scorch. You're live on the stream and hopefully unmuted.
I'm here. What's going on?
Hey, dude.
My audio all good?
You sound good to me.
Good, good. What's going on, man? This is our
Just-
formal introduction. I've just been hiding in chat for the last few months.
It's all, yeah, it's an exciting moment. I've definitely seen your name pop up a bunch. So introduce yourself to the fine folks, Scorch. Who are you and where might we know you in Planetside?
I go by Operator Scorch and Planetside usually, or other variants of that. I've been around since the game came out, actually. I was 17 when it dropped. I'm 27 now. It's crazy.
Uh-huh.
Been through...
Been playing
bunch
for a
of
whole decade, huh?
communities
The
and-
whole time.
Yeah, the whole time. I will admit, it's been very light the last few years. It's, I don't know, I went through like this journey of how much video game time should I have as an adolescent?
Yeah.
And as a young adult. So
How do you
had
answer
a lot more
that?
time. Well, I had a lot more time when I was a teenager.
Yep.
And then as a college student, where you can sort of determine your own schedule for the first time in your life, it's like doesn't seem like much of a coincidence that suddenly I gave myself plenty of time to play Planetside.
Who'd thunk?
And I got pretty good, I'd say. I feel like that was my personal journey. Was when there wasn't community stuff to do, I was trying to get better at FPSs, and I feel like I did eventually achieve that goal. And then when that was done, it was time to play other games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
So
can't
are
climb
you-
to the top ever. That's just chasing the dragon, I'd say.
I've chased that dragon before, man. It I don't know. It has diminishing returns.
Exactly. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, man. So 10 years, 17 to 27. The question I want to ask you, and if it's too personal, that's okay. You don't have to answer it. Is what kind of person were you when you started playing Planetside, and how have you changed in these 10 years, and how's that been reflected in the way you engage with this game and its community? It's a big question.
Well, I was definitely a lot more rash of a person with a lot shorter of a temper. And that goes hand in hand with being a teenager. So I guess that's to be expected. But I was definitely, I would say, because I participated very heavily in the early game, I was big into the two outfits that I was in for about 4 or 5 years there, but like 2.5 years each, something like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I was definitely way more impulsive and less tactful, and like my people skills weren't as good, and my patience with like myself and other people equally was just terrible. So I had this impatience with myself and like wanting to be better at the game and running into like hardware problems, limitations and frame rate and stuff like that can kind of hold you down in this game.
Yeah.
And then that goes with your money situation, and then my people skills was just being able to help run those communities better. And I think myself at 27, would have done a lot of shit differently. I would have
Like
been a
what?
much more being kinder to people, and I would say policing myself better so that I am in a better position to police other people. And not necessarily police, I guess that's not the right word, but to like help, lead people, help guide people.
To set the right example.
I was never at the top of either of those outfits, but I was very active and very vocal. So, when decisions were coming up, or big events like Server Smash or outfit, the original Outfit Wars, I was at Community Clash. That was it. Like that stuff can put a lot of stress on people when they're trying to like run this overly organized hobby. Essentially, I think a lot of those outfits, people can end up treating it like a job, or like a part-time job, and that can be so stressful for people, especially when you have like clashing personalities or people with like completely opposing philosophies. And I saw a lot of that and was not good at helping people bridge that gap or find common ground, and I had trouble finding common ground with other people, and then that caused this like stupid, that it's you can very quickly find yourself not helping at all.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to make a bad situation worse, right?
Yeah. So I suppose learning how that can be the case, and like stumbling in the setting of just video game clans, is probably good for a teenager or a person in their early 20s to learn that. Actually, I do have a good example of how that pays off, because back in about 2021, I would say, so like kind of the late COVID lockdowns and stuff like that for a lot of us, I went back and a friend of a friend needed help running an Arma 3 crew that they wanted to start. So it's kind of one of the only other games I've encountered where you can get a really big, like military-esque organization, like a Planetside outfit with like leaders and, your game nights, your events or whatever, where you're getting 40 or 50 people together into a team speak and you're all kind of in the same instance together. There's not a lot of like MMOs and games that in the 2020s that you can do that in. And that's what I was always so drawn to in video games.
Yeah.
And I would think, a lot better that time around. And I ended up being pretty central to that crew. But just like real life constraints made it really impossible. And then I had a couple instances. This was only about 6 months I helped run this little Arma 3 crew. It was fun as heck too. It was like a Arma 3 mods, super modded client. It was all Halo stuff, and I loved it. And I was like I was doing like all the writing, the fan fiction for the whole roleplay campaign.
God.
So like I read all the Halo books and stuff, and we would load up like 60 gigs of mods.
You're such a nerd. I love it.
Oh yeah, dude, it was great. So I was writing all this like fan fiction and like inserting our unit into it, and it was Arma 3, but it was so heavily modded it was like unrecognizable. It was a fantastic time. But then I saw myself in some of these younger guys who were causing so many problems. So they did a traditional military structure. So there was like a guy who called himself a major who like ran it, and there would be like a fixed roster of guys. So every time you logged into the server, you had like the same squad leaders and stuff. And that was like practical too. It was about organizing all these guys. You get 30 guys and you have to kill 400 AI. So you got to figure out how you're going to do that. And the way to do that is by like playing like a team and having these like communications set up and stuff. It was fun. It was just a good time, but I couldn't do it forever. And I was watching so many of these younger guys who felt like they wanted to do things differently or felt like they could do things better. And funny enough, I would give some of them an opportunity to try to do things better with a little bit of guidance and a little bit of help. And sometimes they just couldn't do it, but they would still be angry and they could still make things worse. Without getting into too much specifics. But yeah, after about 6 months of that, I had enough because I was working too much and sleeping I tried that like binary sleep schedule for that, where
Oh,
you
where
kind
you
of sleep
split
like
it
4
between
hours at
two?
a time.
How did that work for
Oh,
you?
it works, but it was like I was always a little tired. Like I was never getting quite refreshed until I had my days off. Um, and then I could sleep for like 16 hours and yeah, it wasn't great. I wouldn't recommend it.
Sure, sure. So
But
you
yeah.
said that you recognize that there were some young guys who were maybe behaving like you had in the past, maybe being a little impatient, a little unkind, not setting the right example. How do you when you see that in yourself, what do you do about it? How do you
Well,
set a better example?
I know that I can't. You can have a little bit of remorse, but you have to just I think either, man, that's hard. Identifying where things go wrong, I think, is good, and how they went wrong. So it requires like a lot of self-reflective time, I would say. And like sometimes, especially when you're just talking to people over a TeamSpeak or a Discord, I guess Discord has webcams now, but like you're not necessarily connecting all the way on a human level,
Right. Especially over video games.
It's hard to know your audience, and it's hard to know exactly what they're thinking. Eye contact and expression, and I've reminded friends, real life friends, of that too, because sometimes people have arguments over text messages or phone calls. And
right.
That's
do it
no
face to
good.
face. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah. If it's really important, you need to tell them this is really important. Let's talk face to face. And but when you're doing this stupid part-time job stuff with these video game crews, you can it can be kind of hard to talk to some guy from Chicago, you know.
Yeah.
I think the best way to do it is maybe preemptive. It's not putting yourself into the position of those failures and knowing when to walk away. And I'm not saying always have you always need your full exit strategy, but like understand that there's doors to this stuff. And like what I had to do with that little Arma 3 crew a couple years ago, I was like, guys, I have to walk away. I can't, I'm not getting enough sleep. This is too much stress. And that was kind of what it came down to.
It must have been hard to do, especially after you put so much investment into it.
We had some really good times. I did like two big campaigns where I sort of went into the mission editor and built maps for it, and we reassessed our mods. And
I've never played Arma 3.
Times.
You create like actual like campaigns, or like is it like creating like a Warcraft 3 level with a story? Like what is it exactly?
It's so at the individual player level, it's a first person shooter. The closest relatives are going to be your like Milsim games that Lex hates, like your your squads and your what's it like the World War II stuff that's been coming out more recently. I don't remember their names, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's a lot like Squad, I would say. But the technology behind it, I guess, is they have a little bit more of that like military industrial complex money, because they sell versions of their software to like militaries to like use as software for like simulators and stuff.
Government money.
Yeah. If you look up Virtual Battle Space, I think is what it's called. So they get a little bit of that on the side, but their game goes back a while. I think the original game was called Operation Flashpoint. So it's like a Milsim game. And then the best way I would describe it is it has like a Halo Forge like attached to it, so you can make these all these maps. You can place AI. It's PvP and PvE, and there's like a faction system, so the computer can kind of identify units behind the scenes, under the hood. Full object editing, so you could like build stuff. The optimization has never been great, so there's a limit to how much you can build into a map. And the AI is pretty limited, but funny enough, it's so open for modders that they figured out ways of like offloading all of that AI processing. It gets deep. Yeah, it gets deep.
I believe it.
It's fully moddable. Like I said, we would install like 50 gigs of mods, but that was only that was only my later stage to this. Obviously, this was all after two big Planetside clans. The first one was Rage Quit. The second one was VoIP. So we were Matherson and Emerald. And then I switched over. I had a couple of years of just playing by myself and playing with real life friends. And then I did this little armor project, and it kind of gave me this sort of before and after of being the sort of, like the young impatient guy and the more experienced guy with a little bit more empathy.
Would you say that these are lessons you learned outside the game and then brought them into the game, or would you say these are lessons that Planetside helped you work on?
Definitely both. Around the same time, I stopped playing with the Planetside outfit for good, and I just decided I'm going to solo casual Planetside and just maybe work on my own individual performance. I floated to like other team speaks and stuff, which was actually really fun. Because I finally got to play with the guys that drove me nuts.
What was that like?
That was really, it was fine because they're all good guys. That's why I said in chat earlier, like Planetside drama's surface level. Every time I tried a new clan, they would be like, or a new outfit, they would be like, hey, I hate that guy. What was it? I remember there was a character named Wisdom Cube. And I played with Wisdom Cube a couple of times, and he was really cool to hang out with and nice. And then I'd go one Discord over. I think I played with like Notorious the next day or or the next week or something. And then Notorious, somebody in there was like, I fucking hate Wisdom Cube. I was like, hey, I don't know. He was nice to me. And repeat that for like 15 other people, like other individuals.
Yeah.
It was like that all the time. A lot of those big personalities from like Emerald, I would hear that all the time. I'd be, somebody would be out there, be like, I fucking hate Das on Fall. They're all a bunch of assholes. And I'd be like playing with Das on Fall like once or twice a week, in there.
They're actually pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I played with Das on Fall a lot. Mike Honcho still sends me messages when he sees me in game and tells me to get on their team speak. And I played with Gelos and the Black Arrows a lot. Back when they were really big, like when the Jokers and the Black Arrows like merged. I played in their TeamSpeak a lot and just ran into a lot of guys. I played with the Iron TeamSpeak a bit. So kind of like the more esoteric farmer groups. Those guys are on another level. They're on another planet as far as I can tell. I think half of them are insane.
What was it that gave you the idea to go and drop in on these communities of people who you played against and maybe raged against? How did you get the idea to do that?
I think I started getting better, and I kind of got out of the like terminal like 2KD heavy life that I guess Lex might describe it as.
Surfing over pop.
I started getting away for that. Yeah, surfing over pop. Yeah. And I started working on my own FPS skills. My real life friends wanted to play other games, so we play like a little bit of Battlefield, which I swear by Battlefield plus Planetside makes you better at Planetside. And they wanted to play like Rainbow Six Siege, some of the other games that I was like bad at because I was the Planetside safe spacer, right? Like that was the only FPS I played. So if I wanted to get better at one FPS, I had to get better at like it's like FPS universalism. So I needed to get those core skills up, and I found the best way to get better at Planetside was definitely just playing around some of those really good players and seeing where they go and what kind of classes they're playing in different fights. And like what angles and flanks they like to use.
You accepted the social sandbox that Planetside is in a big way.
Yes.
Sounds like.
Yes. It definitely changed my views. It's why I don't think I ever went back to playing with an outfit. I played with TIW for a little while too. Those guys were just like nice. They just scooped me up when I wanted to play somewhere.
Cool.
Yeah, there was a good time just like playing in a lot of these other outfits. And it's interesting because so in like 2013, 2014 Planetside, I had a bunch of moments while I was still with Rage Quit at the time. I was like one of their officers. So like one, I didn't own the thing, but I was like one of the cadre that would run it or whatever. As a shitty teenager. And I would see these other outfits playing the game, or I could sit down and watch a stream of like a TR outfit on our server. You know, name one, like Validus Gamers at the time, or like First Terran Rangers. I think they're still around. Or the Enclave was the big one. Everybody loved watching them. Some buzz,
Right.
and it was like people were playing a completely different game. The way that they would talk about the game, some of the ways that their outfits would play were radically different. I especially noticed that with the higher levels of play, like watching TOS on Fall Guys,
Right.
like videos or montages of guys who could run into a room and go 5 versus 1 and come out on top with 5 headshots. And yeah, so that was always kind of there, but I think at the time, just being stubborn and wanting to push forward with where I was and maybe help that grow kept me from really broadening my horizons. So I think once you do that a little bit, you kind of open yourself up to that change, and you sort of accept the game for what it is and not what you think it is. And I think I see that a lot to this day with sort of like I would describe as like the mid fits and the Zerg fits. Is a lot of players who maybe don't accept the whole game for what it is, and maybe accept the game for the idea of what they want it to be.
Yeah, man.
Then I think once I opened up like that and I was no longer beholden to like any one outfit or whatever, they all just kind of fizzled out. Well, one exploded spectacularly, one fizzled out.
It's the way it goes.
Yeah. And then once I was no longer beholden to that, I think, and that was a personal decision to be beholden to it.
Sure.
Again, remember what I said about accept that there's a door that you can go out.
Absolutely, there always is.
Yeah, I opened myself up to that change and all these new guys who could teach me stuff, and that was fantastic. I think for my personal experience, and then I gave myself some room to grow in real life. Take care of the family, take care of the job, take care of yourself. And coming back every once in a while to that game now, I would say the last give or take 3 years, even though I'm not playing nearly as much, it's like I can play the game for like a day, maybe a session or two, and get right back to where I was.
Right.
And just sort of hit the ground running. And it's like, okay, I think this part of my life is now maxed out. I've hit max level as a planet man. I've filled that journey, and
hit your peak.
Even when I got to the journey, I experienced the end game, which was, it's like an MMO. I did my grind and I did my time with the end game. So I did the outfit thing, I did the server smash thing and the community clash thing. And I got those experiences, and then I took some time away and came back, took some time away and came back, and sort of did the end game thing of like being a farmer and a solo player and a social butterfly, and making myself really good at the game, at least what I would consider I fulfilled my potential.
That's beautiful, man. There's an arc to life.
It was a good journey.
There's an arc to Planetside, isn't there? And we all go through it. Scorch, thank you for jumping in, man. Telling us your story about your 10 years of Planetside, learning to be patient, kind, set a better example. Really, really cool getting to talk to you.
Yeah, man. And it's been good watching your streams. I think it gives me a way to listening to you gives shapes to what I think about that journey, or how I think about that journey. So giving a chance to put everything to words is a great opportunity. But I think watching you the last few months sort of gave me the words to form it in my own head. Even if I had never had the intention of sharing it, this was just spur of the moment.
Speaking is thinking, and you can start with using someone else's words.
Yeah.
It's all good, man.
Nice. Looks like we got a couple of waiters, so I'll stand aside.
All right, Scorch. GG, brother. I'll definitely see you around.
Yeah, I'll see you around. GG's.
Good talk. Good talk. Okay. Next up, we have Red7, who gave us the charming anecdote just a little bit ago about being a casual player hosting watch parties for Outfit Wars and how much he enjoyed that. I can't wait to hear more from this gentleman. Now we come back to Red 7, who shared with us that charming anecdote about watching Outfit Wars with his buddies. It turns out that Red 7's buddies are actually a group of gamers who are self-admitted gaming boomers and who have been gaming together since the 90s in LAN parties. So we got to talk about that, what it's been like to game over the years, and just hear a really interesting different perspective on Planetside from someone who's maybe a little bit more over the hill in their approach to video games compared to what you hear about day to day on Reddit, social media, and everywhere else. A really great conversation. Thank you, Red 7. Shout out, and everyone else. Enjoy. Red 7, you're live on the stream. You still with us? Red 7 did let me know that he might have to step away at any moment to deal with domestic duties. So that might be what's happening here. We'll give him a minute. Give him a minute. Tucano nerd.
About that.
Oh, hey, there he is. Welcome
Thanks for
back.
having me on.
It's my pleasure. I am so charmed by that anecdote you shared about the Outfit Wars watch parties.
Yeah, we had a blast with those. Yeah, it's a different perspective to watch people play this game at that level without them shooting at you.
Yeah, I'm really curious what you think, because as someone who was casting a lot of the events, I mean, a lot of time I'm not sure who exactly is watching. Like, is it only the people who are appearing in these Outfit Wars just want to see themselves in action, which, by the way, is totally natural and totally cool?
Sure.
Or are there
Well, you got to
people...
scope out the enemy too, you know?
And yeah, doing research, very important. But are there also folks who are just Planetside fans, aren't in the event, and just want to see this? And you answered that question for me.
Yeah, absolutely. We love to watch it. 2 years ago, there was one Light Assault who was just totally nagging 1 point solo, and he was he was keeping that point flipping constantly over and over. And I wish I could remember that player's name, but I can't. I'm really sorry.
I'm sure it'll come back to you when you're laying down for bed tonight.
Probably. It was, it was absolutely incredible to watch the impact that one player could have on Outfit Wars. Because I'm a mostly solo player and a casual player at that, and I have a small outfit of 10 semi-regular players, and we're all over 50.
Oh,
we cannot Twitch with the youngins at all. We can't. But we just like to try to contribute in any way that we possibly can to the fight, you know?
Of course.
So
and how do y'all usually do that? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll pull Sundays. We'll bring them up when we see that there's a fight that's getting low, you know? If there's a if there's an opportunity to play medic, I'll jump right in. That's probably my main class. I'll jump in. I'll play medic.
Yeah.
Or if there's a max crash, I'm not going to play max. I'll play the NG. Right? I'll support.
Cool.
Anything that I can do to feel like I can contribute is going to be a good time.
How did?
Yeah.
How did your group of fellow similar generation players? How did y'all find each other?
That's actually one of the stories I wanted to share.
I'm so curious.
So I had a static group in DDO for the longest time.
Oh.
And we played DDO.
Unpack that.
Dungeons & Dragons Online.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Got it.
Dungeons & Dragons Online. We played that MMO for a long time. Before that, we were in WoW.
Wow,
before
that's a
that,
crew.
was it? I can't even remember what it was before DDO. But yeah, we've been together playing for a long time. And so like behind the scenes, there's let's say there's about 100 to make the math easy. Let's say 10 of those are Planetside players. And 3 are pretty mostly mostly three of us are into this game, primarily speaking. Other
Sure.
people still play DDO. I still go back and play that sometimes.
Right.
Some still play WoW. You know, if I go and I look, some of them are actually currently playing Call of Duty. Apparently, that's a thing these days, right?
Yeah, they had
Um,
a Warzone. This just came out, a new Warzone game.
Yeah.
Their Royale, or I don't know. I find
Yeah.
Call of Duty to be a little impenetrable as an outsider, but it's a thing.
Yeah, actually, one of our players who actually plays Planetside regularly, he's formerly world ranked
Oh,
COD player.
shit.
Yeah, he's his first drop into Planetside, he was swearing up a storm, I can say. It's a very different experience, you know.
It is very, I'm sure it is very different, and Planetside always offers something unique to new players. Warm welcome.
Yeah.
So World of Warcraft came out in what, like 2005. It's like 18 years old. How old?
Yeah.
How long has this group been together?
Oh shit! It goes back to the '90s, honestly.
Oh my god.
We started originally as a LAN party group where we had
Holy
so and so and so and so had a router and a switch and
Of course. I remember LANs, dude.
you know, blue network cable running all over the house and people
Yeah.
tripping over it
And surprising heat
Yeah.
that CRTs can throw off in an enclosed
Incredible.
space.
Yeah, man. Yeah. 9 hours of CRTs gives off a certain smell you can't forget, you know?
It does. It does. Yes.
Yeah. We've been doing this thing for a real long time.
That's
trying to
incredible.
figure out trying to figure out how to keep it fun is kind of the main problem that we have. We can't really be competitive anymore, you know? Like I cannot Twitch game to save my life at all.
Mhm.
My reflexes are just not there. We've slowing down.
Mhm.
But that said, I mean, I can still win about 50-50 of the 1v1s I find myself in, even as a pilot in a safe. I'm not I'm not completely incapable at this game, but coming back around to watch parties and enjoying outfit wars played at that level, what I can see some of those pilots do, it just blows me away. Like
Right.
they're just constantly right on the edge of absolute catastrophe to get one shot, right? Like
Yeah.
if they like, you know, the number of times I've accidentally hit the E key
Oh.
and eject it out, like
Oh no.
I have to play light assault in my scythe just in case,
Bring your
primarily,
drifters.
you know. Oh yeah. Drifters and C4 is the way to go.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I kind of relate to you. Like, I'm gonna be 40 next year. I've been with Planetside since I was a college student, 20 years ago. And
Right on.
I mean, for me, I was trying to join Bushido Way. I'm not sure if you are familiar with them.
I am.
Yeah. And they're pretty good players, and they're pretty
Yeah.
young for the most part. And I just realized it wasn't going to work for me, and I had to try to find some other way to be part of this community than being a very, very good Planetside player. And all of a sudden, interviews and talking to people jumped up to me, and I was like, oh, I can still be a part of this. And I love doing it now. In fact, I wish I had figured this out earlier. Is the way I feel about it.
This game I've been playing for 10 years, and I still learn new things constantly all the time. And the game is constantly changing and producing new meta and new challenges. And I also play on 2 different servers, so I play on Connery and Emerald, and the way that different factions play the map on Emerald and Connery is very different. And so like even on a very high level, the game is different depending on which server you play on.
How would you characterize that difference?
Oh, I mean, participating in command chat, I think, is the best way to break it down. Command chat on Connery for Vanu is very strategic and less chatty.
Huh.
for
Okay.
example.
hmm
But very minimal, and it doesn't always happen. When it happens, it's like Christmas, and next thing you know, the entire map is getting steamrolled. And so even though you're sitting at 28% pop playing Vanu on Connery, you're still beating back a double team from TR and NC simultaneously. It's kind of a bizarre experience to go through.
Huh.
When you
Think of
go and you
beauty.
play NC on Emerald, for example, everything is quite chaotic, and there's a whole bunch of chatter going on all the time. To be fair, I haven't played there in about a year. I haven't played my
Uh-huh.
NC Emerald character in about a year, but at that time everything was really chaotic, and there was a lot of arguments as to who's going to go where
Uh-huh.
and when. Um,
Yeah, I'm not sure
TR
what
on
Emerald culture used to be like years ago, but nowadays it feels like it's like a social melting pot. Like everyone whose own
yeah.
server isn't enough and they want to connect with more people, play more Planetside. Emerald is like the next place most people go. And
There's always some good humor going on too, I have to say.
right,
Emerald is
right.
way funnier than Connery. Sorry, my Connery peeps, but Emerald's got the jokes. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's more of a meme culture, and but Connery has a different feel to it to me too. Like I kind of abandoned Connery back in like 2018, 19, just because I wanted to see what else was out there. I live on the West
Okay.
Coast, so I rolled on a West Coast server. It makes sense, right?
Makes sense, yeah.
And but yeah, Connery, like especially during the outfit wars, and talking to the outfit leads, you can really feel the difference in the way that people approach the game on Connery versus Emerald. Connery, it feels like it's almost there's a little bit more of a throwback to like outfit culture, outfit loyalty. They feel a little bit more old school in that regard, where like there's sort of honor. There's an honor between Connery outfits that I think the bubble popped on in Emerald a long time ago.
I bounce around between them depending on what time of day I'm playing more often.
Yeah.
So there's periods of time there where I was working for a company that was on the East Coast, and so I got off work really early, and so I also had to go to bed earlier, which meant that I wanted to play on Emerald more often.
I hate working East Coast hours from the West Coast, man. I've done that. It is so not a fan. Go on.
I'm West Coast myself, so and then when I would work on West Coast hours, now I come back and I can play on Connery and it's been like that. I've been on Connery main for the last year.
You prefer Connery?
Yeah. I am. Most of my friends are on Connery.
Yeah, that matters. That matters.
It does. Most of my friends are East Coast time zone because that's when we would play mostly.
Right.
Which is a big
thing. So playing
also
earlier in the evening for us West Coasters.
Yeah, so like Pacific time, 7 p.m. kind of start, go till about 11 midnight sometimes. That's kind of the time zone that I would play. But then if you go over to Emerald, you're getting later night type at that same time frame. No one was ever on Miller when I wanted to play. So I haven't really played that Miller very often.
Right.
I don't really know much. Although I have to say I didn't have any problem finding people who spoke English over on Miller.
Huh.
Seems pretty popular.
Cool. Yeah, the whole European servers for Planetside are a total mystery to me. Like I know people play there. I see their outfits play outfit wars, but I have never played there, and I don't know. I'm glad the Planetside happens there. I'll say that.
So speaking of friends, I made a friend in Planetside. He was running along one day, trying to get to a mine. It was just after the continent closed, and wanted to run to the mine to just finish off his mission, right? Okay. And he was in a max, and he didn't want to pull in or respawn because his continent's locked. And I was flying along in a Velt and decided just randomly swing down, pick up this random max and carry off, and we finished it. Ended up making friends, and this was in March of 2020. you know, COVID had just hit, I just started playing the game a little bit more often because couldn't go to the pub. And wouldn't you know it, he had just started playing the game because he couldn't go to the pub, hang out, be social. So we turned Planetside into the night at the pub, and we would go and we would hang out and we would bring some friends with us, and we ended up making friends with his crew, and his crew ended up making friends with our crew, and that has been a real positive influence. Making friends usually is, right? So
Cheaper
that
than
was a
going to
really
the pub
positive
too.
story. Yeah, way cheaper. Yeah. Plus you're home.
Yeah.
Which is 180 degrees opposite of how I started playing Planetside in the first place, because 10 years ago my son was 1 year old,
Mm-hmm.
having some medical challenges at the time,
Oh.
and we were trying to really focus on his care, and it meant one of us had to be home all the time. So
Right.
no babysitter, grandma volunteered, but it was kind of a lot to manage. And
Sure.
so we were like, no, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. And so I'd be home playing the game quite a bit, just because it made more sense to stay home and play a video game than to go out and play sports, or to participate in theater, or
Yeah.
coaching, those kinds
Yeah.
of things. And he's all good now. He's totally fine, bouncing around. He's 11. It's great. It's
Cool, man.
the reason why I sometimes have to run away and drop. Which is another reason why I don't really play this game very competitively, is because sometimes I just have to drop everything and run.
Yeah. Family's priority.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do love this game, and I love the content that you create for it. By the way, thank you very
Thank
much
you, man.
for all your effort putting this stuff together and putting these shows together. It's fantastic. It just blows me away what people are capable of doing in this game. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's my great pleasure to engage with this community and in this game in this way. And I'm also insanely grateful to all the other creators out there who are doing the same and continue raising the bar on what we do and inspire me. So, yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking at your subscribers. You're at 932.
That looks right. Yeah.
Right. 68. You need 68 more. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's watching this who could subscribe, right? Like,
hey, y'all heard.
Can we get you over 1K?
Y'all heard the man. Throw me a sub, see what happens.
Do you get a little tiny little keychain from YouTube for hitting 1,000? Like,
I think that the 1,000 milestone is when I become eligible for monetization.
68 people, come on.
But I mean, with the level of like the level that I'm at, like, I mean, we're talking pennies, I think. So it's more of like a notch in the belt kind of thing than a practical benefit, I think.
My nephew is he's a YouTuber.
Okay.
I think he's over 10K, maybe at 20K now.
Nice.
He's been doing a lot of stuff with
What's he
video
do?
games.
Yeah.
He does. He focuses a lot on Portal and doing some really high quality breakdown on the design of Portal. I think that's his most popular video, anyways.
Cool. I'd love if you shoot me a link to his stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Curious.
And he hovered just under 1,000 for about a year and a half, 2 years or something like that. And then once he broke 1,000, things kind of went crazy for him. And he now makes more doing his YouTube than I did working part-time for a fast food restaurant when I was his age.
Nice. Nice job, nephew. Nice job, Red 7 nephew. Hell yeah. I've heard stories like that too, where like, it takes years to be an overnight success on YouTube, and you never know when things are going to take off. So I'm not even stressing it, man. But it always puts a smile on my face when that subscriber number goes up. So
right on. Well, I'm subscribed. I have been for a while now, and as soon as you hit 1,000, I'm sure we get to support you, right? So I'm looking forward to that day happening.
Yeah, I think I'm planning to do a Q&A when I hit 1,000. So if anyone's
Right on.
around in that distant time, then I mean I'm an open book anyway. I'm easy to get a hold of, but it'll be a fun moment, I think.
You still job hunting? What are you looking for?
I am actually. Well, if anyone here happens to have work at a technology company with a
I do.
solutions team, I am a
Nope.
solutions architect by trade.
Ooh.
Pre-sales and post-sales implementations, etc. So if anyone has a
Interesting.
line on something, I'm easy to find. Discord, wherever.
No, I'll set my ear down to the railroad tracks and see if I can hear something coming for you.
Okay, man. That's legit. I really appreciate that.
Right on. Thanks for having
Okay.
me on.
My great pleasure, Red 7. You take it easy. Have a good night.
You too.
Last but not least of this conversation with the Unity crew, that includes Renuse, Identity, and Zach. The early part of this conversation focuses around Zach. He's an up-and-coming leader with Unity, and Renuse and the crew offer their thoughts about how important it is to allow fresh blood to take some responsibility and what the challenges of that look like. And on the other side of it, what it looks like to be someone who's been in the game for a long time, trying to lead a community and how difficult that can be. Planetide's been around for a long time, and the people that have been playing it have been in it for a long time. And it's rare for people to stick together for that long. And we had a long conversation all about that. The folks from Unity are always quite thoughtful in my experience. This can be seen in a lot of ways as a continuation from post-game interviews I've had with them after their Outfit Wars matches. I can't point to one specifically, but if you find yourself very curious and enjoying the way this conversation goes, I would highly suggest you look back to some of those old Outfit Wars VODs on my channel where I covered Unity games. I had the pleasure of speaking with the Unity folks afterwards. Always enjoyable talking to these guys, and I'm thankful they were able to show up and help us celebrate the 10-year anniversary. So with that long introduction, I hope you enjoy, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast in general. Thanks, folks.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi there. How's it going?
It's going really good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah? What's good about it?
You want to go or me?
You go first, Zach. You're the
All
young,
right.
young and up and coming.
I just ran a Jaeger scrim. That went pretty well, and then we ran pickups with some guys in a different team, and got Thanksgiving coming up. I'm going home. So I'm pretty excited about that. Third in Outfit Wars. I'm happy about that. So I don't know. Things are pretty good.
Nice. What about you, Renuse? How you been?
Good. Work, training. I do tactical firearm instructing, and then doing some other schooling stuff on the side. And then yeah, Outfit Wars was a good time. That was a really good little bring together for the community and all the people that we have that are spread to the wind usually.
How have things been since Outfit Wars for y'all?
On Planetside, or
I mean, the prompt for this call-in podcast is telling us your Planetside stories, and from if you've been listening, that can mean pretty much anything.
Mhm.
So it's sort of an open prompt. You guys wanted to come in together, so is there something that y'all together wanted to share, or how do you want to do it?
my intent here is to bring Zach into the community eye with a
Okay.
little bit of Unity backing. And as far as post Outfit Wars for our outfit, I mean, it's been pretty dead, honestly. It's been like one of our community members said it best. It's like Outfit Wars was so good of an experience that topping that in regular Planetside is not possible. Like after that,
That's sad, man. Yeah.
because you go into live and then you have your different gripes and groups and politics and whatnot. And we came out of that third place, and that was like that we say third place, but that was like probably like the most fun I've had in a tournament in a long time. There's ups and downs. We had all the different flavors, and everyone was like on it or off of it and rotating in and out. Is the constant struggle of trying to field the team, and
Yeah.
we finally get that like down to the last minute for a month and a half.
Yeah. Y'all had an
Like,
amazing finish.
oh,
I so enjoyed covering y'all's matches, and I also really enjoyed our after action conversations. You always had something interesting to share, I feel like.
well, thank you. And yeah, we appreciate you hosting and talking to the community and everything. But yeah, I wanted to get out here, and Zach is right now, he's kind of pushing a lot of activity in different sub communities in Planetside, and like trying to pull our guys together on occasion. And really it's about like supporting the people who are active, and then kind of throwing the influence behind them and trying to get bigger things going when they need people.
Got it. So sort of
Yeah.
keeping things in the ready while we're in a quiet period.
Yeah.
So
And
if the point
Zach
of
knows
this,
a lot more about that.
yeah, well, I want to turn it over to Zach. This is Zach's coming out party, which, by the way, I'm so
Whoa.
privileged to be a part of. Zach, tell us about yourself. How did you come to Planetside, and how did you find yourself in this this position?
So the first time I ever heard of Planetside was when I was 11 or 12. So like 2012.
Mhm.
And I used to like watch Angry Joe when I was a little kid, and he reviewed it, and I was like,
Mhm.
holy shit.
Dude,
This
Angry
looks
Joe's
amazing.
reviews back in the day. Oh,
They were fire.
yes. Yes.
But I saw that, I was like, oh my god, that looks awesome. So I downloaded it, but I'm on like a very shitty computer, like hooked up to my family's like TV in the living room,
Oh,
and I'm getting
no.
like 12 FPS.
Oh.
And so that was, and I didn't really understand. Like I was 11, I was like, why isn't this shit working? This game's broken. I didn't understand that my PC just like sucked. And so I want to say like 2015, like 3 years later, like I came back, and from there I played with like Pale Tiger. Like I don't remember
Ooh.
what his outfit was at the time, but that's just like, I don't know, like I sucked at the game, and it was the open platoon. So
Yeah.
and I know like Pale Tiger gets a lot of shit, and he said a lot of controversial stuff, but you know, it can be fun running with like an open platoon Zerg, especially when you don't know what you're doing.
I had that experience. I took a walk on the wild side with the war pigs at that time before they swapped
Oh,
over
is
to
that what it
Vanu.
was? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they've had different variations on their outfit. Maybe they were space pigs. I don't know. I remember the Pale Tiger corrected me, and I'm like, okay, man, it's your outfit, whatever you want to call him. But yeah, like he is this incredibly divisive figure who has said some wild shit. I was literally talking to Arrow from AOD earlier tonight about Pale Tiger's accusation that AOD asks for members' credit card numbers in order to become full members of their of their group. And of course, Arrow's like, "What? Of course not. It's just like a forum. You sign up, you know." But Pale does provide something real and maybe needed for this game to new players, where his personality hooks people in, and it's not all bad by any stretch. And you obviously
Yeah.
had that better than anybody.
Yeah. From there, I've played off and on. I've got a bad habit of like becoming addicted to a game and then like playing it for 10 hours a day for like 6 months and getting really
Uh-huh.
burnt out.
Yep.
And I've done that like 3 times with Planetside. So I did that like back in 2015, and then I came back in 2017,
Mhm.
and then burnt out again, came back in 2019, and I started playing with Sol X, like kind of towards
Before you
the
go
end of Solex's life.
into 2019, do you usually come back to stuff that you burn out on, or is there something special about Planetside that keeps bringing you back?
Usually I don't come back, to be honest. Like most games, I played WoW for a while, burnt out of that, haven't gone back. Yeah, all sorts of games. But Planetside's been the only one where I've really like come back multiple times. And I think I've learned moderation, especially like in the past couple of years. I've kind of broken out of that cycle.
Okay.
But yeah, Planetside is definitely a special one because there really is no other replacement for this game.
It's very true. It's very true. I think you'll find a sympathetic audience to that sentiment here.
Yeah.
So, please continue with the tale you were spinning.
Yeah. 2019, I came back and started. Well, I remember when I was like when I first started playing, like 2015. I remember like seeing SolX, and I was like, "Damn, these guys are on the kill board. They're capping bases.
Their outfit icon is
these
so
guys
iconic
are cool.
too.
I know it is.
This is 2019, right?
2015 when I first started playing. And so what am I? 7 years ago. So I'm like 14 and I see these people and they're kicking ass and I'm like, damn, I want to be a part of that. So I apply and I get rejected, of course. And I also applied to like Merc and 56 and they all rejected me.
Savage.
And so when I like in 2019, I see they're still up. And like I just joined the TeamSpeak to start playing with them. And so I just ran with them for a couple months. And eventually Identity invited me. And so I joined right kind of I was only in Solix for a couple months before they combined with 56 and Dread. And now it's Unity. And I know, yeah, it was definitely a good thing, like in hindsight, knowing like all of those outfits were, struggling a little bit. And it was definitely a good idea to unite. But at the time, like I was like kind of disappointed. I was like, oh, wow, I just got into Solix and now we got to change names. And I was like... So it was stupid and like petty, but when you want to be a part of something for a long time and then you finally get in and it's taken away.
And there's also something special about
really interesting.
about when you're like sort of just coming up and getting to know a community and like some tag jumps out at you, like that tag becomes like it goes up on a pedestal that maybe it doesn't even deserve to be on because you're still coming to grips with the game and the community. Like I definitely felt like I had that experience in Planetside.
Yeah, and I definitely wasn't the only one that was pretty strongly attached to the tag. Like I remember going back and looking in the Solix Discord, and like one of the members was like, Renuse is like, "Oh, we're in Unity now. Just swap over, get the new tag." And he was like, "How about I just stop playing?" Because he didn't want to do it, and he didn't. He still plays, and he's in Unity now. But
empty threats.
Yeah, I can tell there were a lot of people that felt the same way.
Yeah,
we
people
put
were
so
proud
much
of
time and effort into that.
Yeah. So after the merge, I once again kind of stopped playing. But not for as long. Like it wasn't like a couple year gap. Like I would still play off and on. And then I'd like to say this became like my main game again, probably in the past year. Like beginning of 2022. And that's when I found out about Jaeger. And I'm a competitive person. I like to take things seriously. So naturally, I start playing in the Planetside Open games, which I don't know if you know what they are, but it's like a matchmaking system, and then you just like queue in, and then you play a match on Jaeger, 6v6. It's a cool system.
Which is extremely cool, by the way.
Yeah, and of course, I miss like the golden age. Now, like you're lucky to get a match like every other day, but like in 2021 there would be like 3 lobbies going at once. But
yeah, I think that these things go in cycles. I imagine there'll be a wave of interest at some point in the future. I
Yeah.
hope so anyway.
And of course, I get my shit kicked in for like 2 months. I created a team called Lost in Translation,
Hmm.
and that's also with Identity. There's a couple Unity guys in there, and then the majority of the members are from all over. I just posted ads everywhere. We play in a scrim league that's run by Menace, who is a recursion guy,
Yeah, of course.
and yeah, I mean that's it. That's up to now.
Cool. Are you let me think for
It's
a second.
interesting to hear that perspective with like as a community member when you're thinking about like building communities and bringing people together and then like generating activity and making a name, and like that's one of the a player comes in at a certain life cycle of the community and you're like, oh, that's interesting, like their journey is totally different than what like I've been doing for years or other people have been doing, or different kind of personalities that come and go, or people who generate like periods of influence, or they're kind of like a star of the community and then they disappear, or maybe they just migrate somewhere else. But it's interesting to hear that because I knew he came from Solex and I knew a little bit of the background of it, but hearing the brief history that it's been and then how much of a change it was just for him to jump into Solex and then to go to Unity. And then in the back of my head, I'm like, man, there's so much that happened in Solex, and there's so much that happened in the merge for Unity, and then all the crap around it, and all the people and the different issues to figure out. And it's just like, yeah, I was in Solex, yeah, now Unity, and yeah, now I'm playing competitively.
Yeah, I mean, competitive Planetside is kind of a meme, but it's
Let's
definitely
talk about
fun.
that, actually, about competitive Planetside. It's a scene that I'm not as connected with. And so you said that your team is called Lost in Translation, right? Is
It
that still a
yeah.
thing?
Is my team? Oh, yeah. I just, at the beginning, I talked about how I just got finished with a scrim against Bullet Catchers of Connery. Yep, we're still a thing.
Can you walk me through what it looks like to create a team like that and how you maintain it? I'm interested because 20 years ago, I played a game called Team Fortress Classic where I actually ran a clan for 3 years that didn't field 6 people, but 9 people for that game. And it seems like there might be sort of parallel because that was an entirely community-run game. We ran our own tournaments. We set up our own servers, kind of parallel to what it is with Jaeger. So I'm curious to hear your experience of what it's like to put that team together and, keep people playing in competitive.
Yeah. Well, it's very all right. I don't want to say it's difficult to start a team when all right, it's difficult to start a team when you have no connections. Like going in and then like the only thing people know you for is getting like shit on in like open games. Like saying you're creating a team, nobody wants to join that team. Okay.
Who the hell are
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, this guy sucks. I don't know who he is, and he's creating a team. I'm not gonna play with him. But I had a couple people going in from Unity, and so that was, it was a good starting spot. And then I picked up this one player. His name is Ice, and nobody would put him on their team because like he's like 16, and as of like a year ago, he had still had like a little bit of a squeaky voice. And I remember when I picked him up, Menace was like, "That is the one player you should not play with." And I was like, "Well, I need people, so."
Ice getting assassinated. Okay.
Yeah, but I didn't kick him out, and I liked him, and he plays really well.
Cool.
You gotta give people a chance. You gotta let them grow.
You really gotta. And so he's a stable member. And then, as you start playing a little more and make a decent name for yourself, I think ISL, the Infantry Scrim League, the Menace thing, was good because, that's a consistent way. Yeah, I don't have to go out and look for scrims anymore. He seeds us in, and then every week you have a match, and then you go up in a bracket if you win, down in a bracket if you lose, and so you always have a match. And that was also a good way to show that we were relatively capable. Like we were playing decent. Like we started middle seed, and we were winning our matches. Like well, when we would go up against like the top seed teams, we would usually lose, but it was
You were holding your weight though.
yeah. We were, I mean, we're a mid team. We're not like one of the top tier teams, but that was good for I guess publicity. And then recently I've gained just a few more people, like trial players, and it becomes a lot easier to find people to play with now that I have somewhat of a reputation. Like they either know me from North American pickups, which happen like every Saturday, or they've played with me in POG, or they're in the ISL and they've seen that our team's decent.
Sounds like you're very active. Like you're really out there, man.
Yeah, I do queue up for POG every single day, and I try to. We stopped scrimming during Outfit Wars, and the Menace League had also stopped during that, and it's about to start back up again. And so, in preparation, we've started our scrims again.
How often do you scrim?
Before Outfit Wars, we were trying to get 1 or 2 in a week.
Okay.
And now I'm hoping to get 1 a week until the Scrim League starts up again. And then that is 1 a week.
Man, this takes me back so far to my Team Fortress Classic days. I remember we had a clan that we always scrimmed against. They were called the Dark Angels. Nice. And sorry, I'm just boomer reminiscing like a crazy person over here.
Is that a precursor to Team Fortress 2?
Yeah. So Team Fortress Classic was the game between the original Quake Team Fortress and Team Fortress 2 that came out in 2007.
Nice.
Yeah, at the time it was sort of the little brother of Counter-Strike because it came out around the same time, both Half-Life mods. But of course, Counter-Strike just grew like crazy, has a massive competitive scene even today. But yeah, it was a unique game, and it was special to me because I ran a clan of guys for 3 years, and we were also middle tier, but tried to punch above our weight as much as possible. The thing I would always do was I would always try to get us in the top division, even if we weren't as good as the teams there, because I just didn't want us beating up on low teams because I thought that was pretty. I thought that kind of sucked. I thought it was a bad reason to organize and come together and play.
You don't get better beating up on people worse than you. Gotta play people better.
Right. But I also remember a time in that game where the game got mature enough and the competitive scene had drifted enough where basically everyone stopped practicing and scrimming, and it was just people showing up and playing matches. I think that it aged to that point. But at that time when I was doing that, that game was 3 or 4 years old, and Planetside's going on 10 years old, and people are still queuing up for infantry showdowns on Jaeger. That is surprising in a very good way to me.
Jaeger's kind of its own like sustained thing.
It really is. There's very the players that still play on there, most of them are like very well known, and it's funny in Pogs. There's always like a few people that every single time are first pick. Like it's like this person is very well known for being good.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it's the same way back in my day, Team Fortress Classic. So,
but
are these pogs getting casted somewhere?
No, they're not casted. There are tournaments that get casted. But the open games are just you join the Discord, anybody can enter the queue, and then you just play. It's like a very casual. It's like playing competitive in CS:GO.
Yeah, I get it.
It's a pickup game.
Okay. Cool. And Zach, now what is your role within Unity now?
I became an officer during Outfit Wars for kind of a funny reason. I was squad leading and like assistant squad leading. Like it would, you know, some matches I would squad lead, some I would assistant squad lead, and that's with the guy that runs my scrim team with me. And then there's like in our Discord, there's like channels that are like only for officers and above, and like the guy who runs the scrim team with me is an officer. Well, he like helped create Unity, so like he's a co-leader.
Yeah, one of the
And
OGs.
he wanted to like add me to the channel, but one of the other like executive officers was like, well, this channel's for officers only. And he's like, okay. And then somebody said, well, let's just make him an officer then, and they voted on it and made me an officer. So now I kind of lead, like I'll lead squads sometimes, but I wouldn't exactly say I'm like, I mean, I'm nothing like Renuse, who is very experienced in leading, and also, I mean, yeah, I'm just like a low-level officer.
Okay.
I'm just around.
Renuse, how would you
discount
describe
yourself.
Zach's role?
It's kind of like growing, like I mean, everyone has a different rank structure, whatnot. Our veteran operatives are the player base. The guys are like the salty old dudes who know how to play the game and have all the certs, you know.
Yeah.
And the officer guys are usually the interested parties, like the people who want to do something in some way, and that could be administratively, or it can be in scrims or events or other games, whatnot.
Yeah.
And at that stage, we are like, hey, you lead people. You want to do things, you have the drive, and then we kind of assess the personality and like, hey, they're not a bad dude. Like it's okay to give them a little bit of authority and kind of expose them to the more serious stuff in the higher channels.
What's your assessment of Zach?
Oh God. He's got to think about this one.
So a lot of my information on Zach comes from other leaders and their associations with him, and then our working period during Outfit Wars. And during Outfit Wars, he was not scheduled to be a squad leader. Like we had our squad leaders all set up and everything, and he was like kind of ASL, and he wasn't really sure. But he was interested
ASL?
in. I knew he assistant squad leader. Sorry.
Okay, got it.
So we have two roles for leadership. The ASL kind of backseat leads a little bit, supports the primary leadership, and then the squad leader makes the final calls. And so I was like, okay, cool. He's driven. He knows what he's doing, and he wants to do well. Like you can kind of see that he wants to do well. He wants to go farther. And at that point, you kind of either got to back it up or they're going to go somewhere else. So I'm like, and Zach doesn't seem like an asshole, and he seems like he's doing well, and he's responsive to like leadership that's not like so much keyed into the game, but they're like bought into the community, and they recognize like what needs to happen for like a kind of like a healthy direction you should head in. And whether or not people listen is kind of up to them, but he seemed receptive. So I'm like, fuck it. Like Zach seems like a good guy. He's making decent calls. He's not like an abrasive personality, and he's not going to create like an issue in the community if we give him power. And it's like this next leg up to be like getting executive, or maybe even voted as a lead. And then once you get that far, it's kind of like one of our leaders steps down. So like right now, the closest person to Zach is Identity. And then I would say the other leader would be me. All the other leaders that we have, which is like 3 or 4, they don't know anything about Zach. So Identity primarily, and then me, and then Zach and the people he works with are interested in his trajectory. Like, where is he going? Is it going to be a short-term burnout like Zach might do? Or, you know, like, is he going to stick around for a while and start recognizing like community values? Like, hey, what do I need to do to keep these people around? What do I need to do?
Yeah. Will that young buck energy mature into a magnificent old stag?
Yeah. So it's like you see a lot of potential. Like, is he gonna get a deeper voice? Is he gonna grow a beard? Is you know, like, is he gonna have some war scars? What are his stories gonna be? Like that's you see the potential in somebody, and you want to help them, and you don't want to help them by saying, "Hey, I'm gonna help you." Like, because you don't want to take credit for them either. You want to be like, hey,
Yeah.
let's support.
You give them an opportunity. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
And you support them if they need it. Yeah.
That's he's one of the dudes we've got to take a risk on, and honestly, I don't think it's a super big risk, and he's one of the handful that we get a year, like a small handful. Like
yeah, and in a game like this, like having someone who's willing to step up and help organize people and do more is so precious. It's what keeps these communities ticking along, not just yours, but all the other ones out there. The Zacks of Planetside too.
And this is like a developmental thing too. Like you can go deep with this, and I don't want to get personal, but you get time under your belt, you get the experience, and you get the surety to act, whatever you want to call that.
Mm-hmm.
And then
confidence.
It happens. Like more things happen, or it depends on what he's interested in. You know.
That some of you brought up, Renuse, is that question of keeping people interested, and that's I'm learning how much of it can be a nightmare. Like getting people interested, making sure people still want to play. Like you like schedule a scrim, and then like 6 people, like you have to have 6 people. I mean, otherwise you just can't play. And then like people will say they'll come, and then they'll cancel like 30 minutes before, or they won't show up at all, or they won't respond, or they won't RSVP at all. And it's hard like staying in touch with people like that. And I've tried to become closer with the people I scrim with, because I want them to like me. That's
Look who's downstairs. Look who's downstairs.
Oh yeah, it's Identity. He asked for the invite to the Deeg Discord.
All right, you want me to pull him in?
Yeah,
we just talk shit about him.
No,
Let's talk shit.
Right.
Let's talk shit.
Oh god. Well, all right. Identity's the most guilty. Like, I'll message him on Discord, and then he just won't respond for like 3 days.
Oh.
He just fucking ignores it.
Oh, the slander.
You gotta say
that's my only gripe with him.
All right, we're gonna let him defend himself. Here he comes. Identity, you're live on the cast. Is it true that you go dark for 3 days when Zach tries to chase you down?
You know it's true.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. How's the weather?
A little cold. It's pretty cold.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about cold weather?
You know, I grew up in Southern California, and I moved to Northwest. So I've learned I'm not used to the cold. Definitely questioning some choices I've made.
The Northwest cold ain't that bad even. I'm a New England transplant living in Seattle. And it ain't that bad, man.
Yeah, it could be worse.
Yeah, so on non-weather-based topics, Planetside 2, leadership, development, identity. Identity, introduce yourself.
Yeah. I think right before I joined, when I was listening to the stream, it sounds like I've been identified as the most aloof member of the Unity community, and I would definitely agree with that. You know, I actually, like Zach, we've never talked about this, but I also found Planetside through the Angry Joe reviews.
Oh,
yes.
And I'm only a couple old, like maybe a couple years older than Zach, so I think
he's
I
ancient.
was like 13 or 14, and I had never, I was like a Halo gamer on Xbox, from 6 years old, 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I need to play that game. So I also tried to use our family's old ass Dell pre-constructed PC from Best Buy.
Beautiful.
And I joined a fight, got like 2 frames, and was like, man, this is unplayable. I knew it was my computer that was the problem, though. And so from then on, I was determined to figure out how to A, get the money, and 2, get the know-how to put a computer together, and then figured that out and played Planetside on probably like 30 frames all the way up until Solex. Really, for most of that, it wasn't until like 4 or 5 years into Planetside that I got a, like I'm like Zach, where I like to be really competitive in Planetside. I take it
Hmm.
pretty seriously as a shooter, and back in the day, one of the first infantry competitive events was created by Future Crew, and we played in that, and I was kind of in Zach's role of trying to get a team together,
Is
get
it Farmers
it
League?
going. Yep, it was Farmers League.
Oh.
So I played in the original Farmers League, not for too many matches though, because again I was like, my computer shit, I'm not good enough, and
Which
I
team?
sat most of it out. Solex.
Solex had a
we did
team.
farmers.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember watching Farmers League matches at work on my second monitor when I first was getting into Planetside too. Man, halcyon
We
days.
used rockets, and it pissed a lot of people off.
Rocket primary? How dare you?
Sorry.
Anyway, continue. Identity, please.
Yeah. So we, and I don't know if anyone knows if Renuse has talked about the Solex origin stories, but pretty much all the original Solex members are actually from XPIV on Connery. So that's how I met Renuse, and we had a couple other leaders who aren't around so much anymore, but that is how Solex started.
What was
So,
XPIV?
They were just kind of a Connery TR Zerg fit, that was back when open platoons were more of a thing, and like open platoon outfits were more of a thing. Not like when Zach came back to the game and there was really only pigs around.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been playing Planetside for 10 years at this point. Maybe 9 or 8. And I am the other kind of guy with Zach where again I get to relive that Planetside competitive scene, which I also thought was dead up until actually Zach kind of brought it to my attention more. I was pretty unaware that there was like POG matches and this whole thing, which made me really excited because my most fun in this game has been in those kind of closed off formats. So I'm really happy that at this point in the game, these things are still possible and happening, and there's definitely a whole other side of the community that will just literally play in POGs and not play live server.
I think it's really cool that those players have access to that, because y'all couldn't verify this, but my impression is that if POGs and if Jaeger wasn't a thing, these people just wouldn't be part of the community at all. They wouldn't be playing live. They just wouldn't be here.
I think that's fair. It gives a home too to some of those. Someone you were talking to before was mentioning that they kind of didn't take the outfit thing too seriously and were more all over the place, willing to play with anyone. And I think there's a home for those types of people.
That was Scorch. Yeah.
Yeah, there's home for those types of people in the Jaeger community. They definitely exist.
I think outfit communities are incredibly important. Yeah, I have a different perspective on that.
Tell us more.
Yeah.
Well, you have a gentleman in here, 2 gentlemen. Me and Identity, just as an example. We've been playing this game on and off together for 10 years. 10 years!
10 years!
And like, we don't play other games regularly together. We don't like hang out buddy all the time. And, like, we know each other and we've exchanged contact information, but it's like we're not super close, but we always come back together to help our community. And those are the consistent players. And then you get like a few from every little sect within the community. Like there's one dude that people like hanging out with, they congregate around him. Same thing somewhere else. Like there's just little groups that kind of form. But then in the end, when it's like, hey, put the call out, we're going to go do something as a group. And we all kind of feel the same way in the community. Like we have like a general standard of behavior and performance. And then you're able to get that 60-man crew together and go whoop ass, essentially. You like that, you don't get that being alone. You can try to be part of it, but you're not going to get like that whole like the lore of it, the whole struggle behind the life cycle, the like in and the out, the growth or the shrinkage. Haha. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to be able to struggle through all that.
We all struggle with shrinkage.
And if you're not buying into a group and you're not buying into like why you should play or like having that community aspect, then you're kind of just floating, and that's fine. But it doesn't give you like a lot of longevity of like a lot of trust. Like you're just kind of like, I'm gonna come and play for fun for me. I'm not gonna come and play for my people and like be there and then see them achieve and see us achieve.
You know, Renuse, when I hear you talk about that, I can't help but feel like I'm looking into the window of some family having a feast on Christmas Eve, and I'm out in the cold looking in from the outside. Because, and sorry, it's not, I don't mean to be so bleak about it, but everything you just described, I just love the sound of. I do love the sound of that. I used to look for that so much in Planetside and any other multiplayer game I played. World of Warcraft, Destiny, you know, all these games. But every time I've tried to invest myself in a community like yours, I have found whatever it is I'm looking for, it's not actually there. It's not actually there. And that gives me sympathy with the people who don't really attach to a community. And here I am, and I found a way to channel my what I love about Planetside into something. Not everyone can do podcasts, of course, but I love what you say, but I've never been able to feel the warmth of that fire on my own face.
It doesn't happen often. It's a long-term commitment. It's like buying a house.
Yeah. I'm somewhere in the middle. Back when I used to like play games, like when I was like 13, 14, 15, I was like very guilty of like I was like afraid to get too close with like people on the internet. Like not like actually afraid that they were gonna like I don't know, like groom me or something because I was a little kid, but more it was just I found it weird. Like you'd start becoming a friend with somebody, but you don't really know them, and like you share like all these personal things, but it's like you know so many things about them, but at the same time they're a complete stranger.
Right.
And I would find myself like it's fucked up to admit this, but I'd like play games with somebody for like a year, but then I'd be like, I'm way too close to this guy, and then I'd just like dip. And I've definitely stopped doing that, but you kind of have to put yourself out there. And this outfit was definitely one of the first times I had like fully done that. Like I'm comfortable being around these people, and I'd consider quite a few of them like friends.
Makes a tear to my eye, brother.
That's good.
What else should be said, gentlemen?
What indeed? Identity? You got anything?
I don't know. I've actually lied about my identity to all the people in this community for years in an attempt to counter any potential doxing efforts. So I think I agree with Zach in terms of not really trusting people on the internet, especially Planetside people. But at the same time, I think I don't know. There's a reason why we're still all here. I've known Renuse for a long time, and that is in and out of playing, actually being active in Planetside. I mean, I've gone to school in that time, moved states, and all sorts of things. So it is nice to have people that are more of kind of a constant, even if we don't always have a reason to kind of come together. And I think that's why Outfit Wars was so rewarding for like our community in particular, was just giving us a reason to play like it's 2015 again or 2014 again.
Yeah. There is a way that
Yeah.
gamers can know each other that's sort of different, right? Like I think Zach, you touched on it. You can exchange really personal information with people, especially when you're in something like this where you don't see each other but you hear each other. There's something about that. There's a certain intimacy to that. And then you layer on the shared experience you have of playing in the game together. It's not the same as, you know, being a roommate with somebody. It's not the same as, you know, even going to class with somebody, or being a coworker. But it is something. And the cool thing about the way we're all connected is that, you know, we're only as far away as our PCs from each other. And I think that's super cool and special, especially as communities like this one. I mean, the broader Planetside community, when I say that. Age. I heard a perspective from was it Strixie? I think it was Strixie just now, saying that he's been playing with the same group of people since the 90s. And they found Planetside like after a chain of other games that they played together, starting in LAN parties in the 90s. There's something
Before I
about
was born.
there's something about whippersnapper. There's something about what we do here that can be hard to let go of. I'm going to trail off mysteriously on that because I'm not sure where else to go with it.
That's real.
All right.
That's like a position of trust too. There's a lot of warm and fuzzy when we say things publicly, but there's also a lot of issues that you gotta like address or be comfortable with. And the people change. Like there's some constants, especially in like small to mid-sized groups, but people change. They ebb and flow, and they grow and they turn into different people, or they have problems. And like them being able to trust the people who are kind of like charged with keeping the waters clean. That's a challenge for those people to do, but it's like you do that and then they stay. Like, yeah, they might have a problem every once in a while, or they might
What kind of problems?
not have any problems. Personal. I mean, like, that's it. It's private, you know, like there's private issues and they're handled.
And it comes out in a community context, like it bubbles up in some way.
Oh yeah, people are people. Like people are imperfect creatures, and they really just they put out what they want to put out, and most of the time people aren't considering what they're putting out and how other people are receiving it.
A lot of us in games are acting out something, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's good or bad. Like people are navigating that stuff all the time. Like people don't really know. Like leaders are figuring out how to lead. It's a careful balance between salesmanship and skill and organizational skills, and like a leader recognizing that he doesn't have to be the best person for this particular thing. Like there can be an expert that's not him. Like why is he leading then? Is it for the limelight or is it for the team? And then the same thing goes for the community members. Like why is that person here? Are they here to satisfy a social urge? Are they alone? You know, like what kind of person is this and why are they here? What are they taking out of it? What are they getting? And then that comes out in different ways. It could be good, it could be bad. That's kind of like that weird community navigation, and just finding those people you trust and sticking with them and knowing that they're like a consistent something, like person or ethics or totality. Like,
do you ever get to a point, Renuse, where this is what happened to me, and when I stopped leading a Team Fortress Classic clan all those years ago, where the people that you trust and the people who who were there with you at the beginning are faded away enough, and you don't know the people who are here now well enough to feel connected to it, and you start to feel like a distant figure. Is that something that you deal with? Is that something that happens? Leadership in a old game like this?
I don't know that I'm a good example of that because I usually check in really regularly.
Okay.
I can't give a good opinion on that. I would say if Identity is interested in speaking on that, I would say him.
That was
Thoughts,
such a
Identity?
beautifully worded question, though.
Yeah, that was a really good question.
Come on, we need an answer. Identity, say something.
That's probably a little bit more relatable to me because I've had so many times where I'll disappear for a year or two or months or something and pop back in, and there have been times where I come back and there's new people and I don't really recognize it, or you can tell the community's changed a bit. I think things have been a lot more stable after the merger into Unity because we picked up kind of and joined with a couple other groups who also had just a couple very stable members. So that's been one thing that's been nice about Unity is you kind of know who's around and what you're gonna get. But we definitely had some very questionable people in Solex near the end, and I wasn't around for some of it. That was probably a bit regrettable. So yeah, I can definitely feel for that sentiment. Another thing that Renuse reminded me of that one of the reasons I wanted to join this call to actually share it was just kind of a funny story of just kind of life happening. And when Outfit Wars was ramping up, I was in the middle of a move, so I'd moved to a new place, and I couldn't get internet. So it took me like 3 weeks, a month to get internet, so that I missed out on the first couple of matches, and I was going to be, squad leading. There were even times where I drove to a friend's house, brought my computer, and they were out of town, and I couldn't get the internet to work, so I missed out on that match too. And so that was like frantically telling all the Unity people like, hey, I'm here, I'm trying to make it, and then not being able to. And that's actually Zach filled the vacuum that I sort of left. So all of the times I should have been leading, Zach picked up Black there. So when we were Zach kind of filling that role is very much a product of Outfit Wars. And I'm really thankful he's able to do that. And it all worked out. It got to a point where I was back and I was playing, but Zach had already been kind of doing it for a while, so it was kind of awkward there to figure out how we wanted to run the squads. But yeah, I was literally drove all the way to a friend's place and tried to get it working, and I tried so hard.
A gamer moment right there. Hauling the carcass of your desktop computer over to your friend's house. They do feel like carcasses. They're so huge. I'm looking forward to like when laptops are as powerful as desktops. I assume it'll happen at some point. But
on that fading away comment,
yeah,
on the on the exact opposite of that, I would say it's very disheartening for a community to go through so much change or be so influenced by a new character, like a super powerful personality, like somebody who just demands attention or wants so much and kind of pulls the people towards them and creates that. Oh, there you go. His internet died again.
No.
And then
rip.
And like you see all your people kind of going away, like they're leaving, they're departing. Like that's a sad thing to see, to feel like all these people that you've had around for years that you've kept things going for, and like kind of like, hey, event, hey this, hey that, hey get together, and then all of a sudden there's like a big departing. That's sad. That's kind of what happened towards the end of Solex there before we did the merge. We did that, and we also had a purge there. We had to get rid of a lot of people that we were keeping just to have activity. before.
That's painful. Yeah, so division within the
Right.
community caused by, you know, a polarizing figure. It doesn't have to be that polarizing to have an effect. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
That's when you get Zax and you go scrim, and then you get people who do community things, and you get people who do whatever.
Zach,
Keep
the
them all
picker up
together.
of slack.
Keep it all in house.
Love it. Gentlemen,
Make them
I so
attack.
enjoyed this conversation. What else needs to be said?
I think it's a good spot to wrap up.
Yep.
Cool.
It was great talking to you. I wanted to join in on the interviews during Outfit Wars, but I never asked and never did. So
Nah, don't be shy. Don't be a stranger now.
yeah.
And there will be more times come around. Next time Outfit Wars comes around, and I don't know. Like I kind of had a thought that I'd like to get involved in casting more Jaeger stuff, but we'll see if there's an actual opportunity to do that.
There definitely will be. I know a new 10v10 tournament's coming up.
Cool.
Within the next couple months, Infantry Open, which is another tournament organizer, they should do something again. So yeah, there's definitely gonna be opportunities if you want to cast your stuff.
I loved casting Outfit Wars. I especially love if I could cast something that wasn't a, 12-hour a weekend commitment for 6 weeks in a row.
Oh yeah, that's that stuff is a massive commitment.
But yeah, okay. Well, I'll stay tuned for that. Thank you, Renuse, Zach, and Departed Identity, for jumping in and sharing with us your stories. It was really good.
All right, bye-bye.
Happy anniversary,
Zach.
Planetside. Later, guys. Congratulations. You've made it to the end. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you for spending some of your valuable time with me and the Planetside community. I've really, really enjoyed doing this live event. I think it's something that I'll try to do again in some form or fashion. So stay tuned for that. The best way to stay tuned to what I'm up to is to join my Discord. The link to the link tree will be in the description of this video, and that'll also get you links to Discord, to Twitter, and if you want to Patreon, where you can optionally support me in what I do in making podcasts. If not, though, there's no harm done. And I'd love if the main thing you do is just continue to tune in and listen. And if you like, tell me what you think. At the start of this podcast, I encourage you all to share with me your story. And I love hearing from everybody. I read every comment, and I cherish them all. So whatever you want to share, whatever you want to say, I'd love to hear about it. I think it's about all I have to share for today. So I will catch you in the next one. Be good to yourselves and be good to each other. And take care.